are paid
Yeah, that
vacations,
makes
right?
sense. Yeah,
That's rough.
just staycations.
Yeah. Well, especially now because what should I call it? They asked me if I wanted to be ASM. I go, maybe. But the thing was, no one knew about the whole Freshco thing going on, right? So I said,
What's that?
the one on Coliseum, the Safeways is turning to a Freshco. They're
Oh,
changing banners on some Safeways around the city. If you haven't heard the news, they're converting
Nope.
them to another brand.
I did not know that. Interesting.
Same grocery store, same idea, just a different name.
It's like the difference between Superstore and No Frills. That's the kind of thing they're trying to do. They're the same company,
But
but
Safeway and Sobeys are the same as
yeah,
well.
well, yeah, now because Sobeys bought out Safeways, right?
Hmm.
Oh, did
And
they? Ooh.
then
So Fresco's another brand.
yeah, they bought the brand from Ontario, and they're trying to bring it over here
Oh,
in Edmonton now. So they're converting
okay.
certain Safeways into Freshcos. So there's a lot of giving people buyouts or offering them more positions and all that. So there's a lot of restructuring going on. Somewhere.
And that's the one you're working at is being rebranded?
No, it's well, not for now, as far as we know, right?
Okay.
The one on Manning in Clairview, that's the one
Yep.
I work, and then the one here, Coliseum. The pharmacy's still open, but they're doing a lot of renos.
Huh.
Pharmacy has to be open to do all those vaccines to everybody.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is the brand is changing, but not the pharmacy. Pharmacy is like a separate entity sort of thing,
Okay.
right? Plus, the old people they don't like change so much, so they're afraid they might lose customers if they shut down the pharmacy, right?
You
Mm,
mean older than us, Ruben?
Yeah.
these newfangled
I'm pretty
apps and
sure I might not
things.
do that.
Used to just be able to
Yeah.
walk in and get your drugs.
Well, it's funny how life is cyclical because we're back to paper bags now, right?
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
I remember growing up with the paper bags. Right?
I remember paper bags from
Oh
Steinberg's
my
back
God,
home. Did you have
yeah,
Steinberg's?
was it? That was the thing before Maxi, before Loblaws bought them out. Steinberg's was all over Montreal, right?
I would, yeah, but it's long, long time
Oh
ago.
yeah,
Were they not a Canadian thing? Was it just
yeah.
in
I think
Quebec?
Steinberg's was just Quebec. It was a Jewish family that owned it, right?
Of
Steinberg,
course,
right?
of
Mm.
course.
But
They own all of the profitable
Provigo
things.
was the other one, right? That was the French
Yep.
one. That was the French owned one.
They still exist though,
Oh, thank God. But I think no, they're owned by Loblaws now too. I think though, the name
but
still
the name
exists.
still exists.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then the soup.
We had Woolco, that's gone.
Yeah, all the big stuff like Simpsons, Eaton's, and all that stuff.
Yeah. Crazy, hey?
Yeah.
Simpsons years. Poor
Wow.
Kevin. Sorry, we're reminiscing.
No, that's okay. Here
Yeah.
to chill and hang out.
But yeah, like
I had a little girl throw slang at me the other day, and so I'm feeling particularly old. Even well, my daughter knew the slang, but my son didn't, and I thought that was hilarious. I'm like, wow, you're getting old. You don't know all the
Ah,
new
all
slang.
the new, yeah. The lingo. These teens.
Yeah. Well, it's coming from a 9-year-old, so at 18, I guess he didn't know already. Cedric turns 18 on Sunday.
oh,
Ooh,
tell him happy birthday for
yeah,
me.
congratulations to him.
Yeah, we'll be drinking.
Yeah, good for
He's
him.
not living in Montreal. You'll never see him in 3 days. You won't see him for 2 days.
You've met Cedric, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, he'll have a beer and he'll be done.
that's it.
And
Well,
go
he's
back
not
to
living in
mining
Montreal.
Bitcoin.
Yeah. Actually, now that he's 18, he can actually take his money out
Oh, yeah.
if he
He,
wants
he
to.
could probably open a brokerage
You need to be
account.
18. I think he's done it through a friend's brother. So he's found a way to make it happen, but he wants to start investing some money. He's got plans. I don't know.
Oh,
Says
that's a
money.
good.
But
I'm
it-
glad he's gotten. That sounds great that he's starting so young. At 18 years, by the time he's any of our ages, that's going to be grown for 20, 30 years.
well, I don't know. I think he was telling you when I think it was in grade 10, one of his teachers got the whole class into this app. You're following actual market, but you're not using real money.
Mm-hmm.
But you can invest like a pretend $1,000 and see where the stock takes it, and then you can shift your money and just play with it because it's meant for people who are not 18, but it does follow the real market. So he's been ready to go. Yeah, we'll see
Good for him.
if he's lucky or not. Mm, so long as he makes money.
Exactly, and that's really all it is in the stock market. Is everyone's there for to make some money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Everybody's supposed to show up tonight. I know Anastasia was getting her house today, right?
Yeah, and Robert's also he's got to close the shop, and that's okay. So I know that the last arc has ended, and upon the writing of that thing, I'm like, we'll see how it goes and how people felt about that and how people feel about combat. I don't want to make any like big decisions without everybody here because the last arc, I would say it's coming to a close. You've got one blood demon left, and likely things are going to come to a head where all the things that you've done in the past will probably start to catch up.
But we're not done now. Like we're gonna finish the campaign. Like,
Yep.
is that your plan? Okay,
Yeah,
good.
that's the plan. And then
Critical Role finished, and they're only level 16. So yeah,
yeah,
they're done. They were done last Thursday. They finished it off.
I
7 hours.
I know.
7
So I
hours.
started watching it, fell asleep, came back at like 2 in the morning. Man, they're still going.
You watched it, and you haven't seen the rest of the campaign?
I watched parts of it, so I'll still watch the rest
Okay.
of the campaign, but still. That's my goodness, 7 hours. I used to play, but 7 hours. No, just narrow it down to like 3 or 4
long
nowadays.
time. Yeah, it was a long time. I haven't listened the whole thing. I think I'm in like 4.5 hours. I do
It's-
little bits at a time, but
it can be a lot of information. I'll trail off even during the podcast and forget what they're doing or where they are.
well, and if you haven't seen the whole thing, then you're not always sure what they're talking about when they're referring to something that happened in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And one playing two characters must be confusing a little bit.
Yeah. Um,
Allison is playing two characters for a while there.
yeah. He like I haven't even caught up to the part where Molly died and didn't even know he came back.
Okay. Well, shush. He only came back 2 weeks ago.
Well, anyways, yeah. So the previous arc on the blood demon there, and that was in a way self-encased, pretty much entirely on the swamp, and gathering information, people's feelings, especially how they feel about combat. And it seems like the general consensus is people, I would say, are more focused on playing a character and seeing what reactions you guys get out of NPCs and your fellow party members.
Yeah.
And combat seems to be a bit of a
But fighting
backseat.
is fun.
Fighting is fun, yeah. And between my various groups,
It's a necessary evil.
it
Yeah.
is true.
But it's a, like you were saying, it's a cause and effect thing. There should be a reason for fighting, right? Like
Mhm.
even if it's just being robbed on a highway, there's a reason for that, right?
Yeah, that's true. Or
What did the other group say? Are they done with the arc as well?
the other party?
I haven't watched.
Oh yeah,
Of mice
they've
and men and
of men and mice and fire have left the swamp, and right now they're busy just south of Riatavan doing a bunch of other stuff. And
okay.
and really just kind of exploring all the landmarks that I dotted over the map. But they are highly tactical in that they might even love combat for combat's sake, whereas for you know plot and story wise, people feel like it has to make sense. These guys are less so even sometimes, where it's just they want to fuck
So
shit
like,
They made the girl scream.
up. Yeah, they did.
so they're more of like the old D&D dungeon crawler type of crowd,
A
so
little
to
bit,
speak,
yeah.
right?
Where it's like, isn't the real loot the friendships we made? Give us loot, loot. What's in the box? And that's fine. It seems like
I'm
more with
happy
this.
with whatever we do.
Yeah. It seems this party is more. I would say, the combat supports the story. Is how I'm getting the feel from many of you guys, and you're really. I would say. The main draw for some is actually not even to play D&D, but to hang out with friends, where D&D is incidental to it. Is also a pretty good reason.
Well, I don't know if I'd hang out with you guys without D&D, but yeah.
But it gives some sort of context. But in a way, yeah. I would say my other group is more like that. We just enjoy hanging out, and then beating stuff up. So in this case, it looks like more purpose-driven, writing the story and coming to a conclusion. That being said, do you guys want me to reveal parts of it? It'll have little bearing, but also reveal like my line of thinking when I write this or that, or what theme I was going for.
Like your notes.
Yeah, basically, like there's a theme I centered most of the swamp around, which I figured you could have come across if you either investigate or throw down some intelligence rolls. But now that that's done, I don't know if people want to leave the air a mystery or actually go back to investigate.
I know as a party we'll want to leave, but I'd love to know what we missed and what would have been.
Okay, I get
Yeah,
different
because you
answers.
could
Or
put it
what-
somewhere else.
Yeah. I get different answers depending on people. Like if stuff gets destroyed, and they're like, "I'd rather not know what I missed out on." But
Nothing left.
Fair enough, but not necessarily material things, but storyline that we missed. I don't know.
Okay.
Sometimes it's better not to know. I think on your end, I would be frustrated if we didn't find everything and you've worked so hard to prepare it. So I'd want to hear it and I'd be okay with it.
yeah,
But then again, it is up to the DM to give us a hint, drop a clue, put a roadblock
Yeah.
to turn around, right?
Yeah.
it's true. And
So if
Because
you
I
notice-
feel if we leave, we haven't finished the whole storyline with like the Tieflin blood and the half demon blood. Because we're
yes.
chasing another. And then the whole thing with the singing stone that was
Yeah,
missing
we
from
did
the
get,
very
lost track
beginning.
of that. I
Like
was wondering. I thought we were on the trail of that one, like from the beginning, right?
we let it go because we left the Shadow Thieves to hunt the blood demons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I probably wasn't in for that one, and then I just probably came in once you guys just decided.
But I haven't forgotten it. It's
When the
part of
Raven Queen showed up, I figured we'll kind of tie in at the end. Or not, but
Yeah. Sometimes there's like you pick left or you pick right. You're gonna miss the left side if you pick the right? So that's.
but I feel like that had a bit of a storyline with Shane, and then her not playing
Mhm.
like changes things maybe a little. Like there was a lot of druid stuff in there.
Yeah, there was actually.
There was, and it's still available for people who want to hang out or people who are nature orientated. But yeah, I mean, you guys don't visit a whole lot of stuff beforehand, or you might forget about it. But it does. I do make an effort for things to show up, especially when you guys, or Tana made the class change with the Divine Scroll.
Hmm. Um, what is that class? Is it in the books? Is it a new, like a made
No,
up
it's in
class, or is it
Tana's
something?
guide.
Okay.
Tasha's
Yeah, it's
Cauldron
in.
of Everything. This book here is there's a new
And
subclass called Way of
as
Mercy.
players, I think one of us has it, so it's available on D&D and Beyond for us to read. But as players, should we know that? Like when somebody has a new class, or should it be a
That was
surprise
kind
in
of book,
game?
wasn't it?
Like,
When he picked up the scroll,
Pardon?
and then boom, the burst of light.
Sorry, repeat that, Ruben.
No, well, you like, wasn't that kind of it when Ken picked up the scroll, and then he had and the the big boom of light and everything.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't
well, we
that was the
we
reveal?
knew there was a class change, but I don't know anything about that class. And so should we research that out of game, or should we just let the information of what that new class is come into the game?
You
I tend to nerd out and I want to find information outside because that's me, but
yeah.
should I just
It's up to
not do
you. I
that?
actually looked it up because I was designing Ken's new weapon to give as a gift, like as Alistair, and I looked up his way of the
Cool.
monk thing,
Yeah,
right? And I was
definitely.
like, well, what would be like the designs he would want on that weapon and stuff? And I was looking it up. Oh, so that's what it is. So I think it's
What is the do we know what the weapon is? If that
no,
happened,
I
did I
was
miss it?
talking with Kevin about that, so it's sort of like it's not really a big
Cool.
surprise.
Okay.
Yeah,
But since he
I
became a
just
monk,
No, but that's cool.
yeah, but no, yeah, you
yeah.
can definitely look it up in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. When it comes to player classes and stuff, it's part of the meta game, and you should generally know each other's class and what you're capable of. It's backstory that you can keep hidden from each other, but not like to the detriment of the group. But you should definitely know what role each member of your party plays.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can also
Cool.
do it as a, part of your role playing. It's like, so are you still, you could like fit it in there somehow, right? As a
Yeah,
role player.
totally. And that's up to
Yeah.
how
So
Ken
was it
wants to play Tana. So
Hmm.
I wrote it down. Let me see if I can find Way of the something monk. Spirit monk?
Way of the Mercy Monk. So in Tasha's Cauldron
Mercy
of
monk.
Everything,
Okay.
Way of the Mercy Monk
That
is
means,
on page.
yeah, I read it too, and it was like, well, does Ken have a mask? Because apparently the Way of the Mercy Monk should have a mask. I think it's optional, but I was like, is he wearing a mask now?
He is not.
Oh, we'll
His,
make him one.
yeah, it could be a laughing visage, a butterfly, a skull. But yeah, page 49 of Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, you'll find Way of the Mercy Monk.
I'll make him a mushroom mask.
Wonderful.
I found mushrooms, didn't I?
Yeah. But there's been occasions where something gets left out, or you don't revisit something until a moment where like kind of clicks. For a while, Orzo's past in regard to the blood demons was tied in a way to Alistair's as well.
And that just came out. Unless I missed it before, Ruben, I just like your story tied in the last few sessions. We didn't really know much about it before, other than you were a merchant
Yeah,
or your
the thing
family was
was, I wrote
merchants.
that whole like 3-page backstory to Kevin to submit as a backstory, and he decided to run with it.
Yeah, I do that.
Okay, that's cool.
Right? That's why, like in the last one, it was like I wrote it as a mosquito, but you didn't use the mosquito. What the hell's going on, Kevin? So I went all Joss Whedon on him the other day.
Yeah, and no problem. So he gave me a lot of
Oh,
criticism, and that's where I think we had a difference in interpretation on why he was particular
fair
in
enough.
the tree. And it's a valid point that he should be more mosquito-like if he's caught in the mosquito. Um, but also, my theming on it is that many of the spawn of Orcus, Strahd and the mosquito, his MO generally is to delights in taking away people's freedom and oppressing them with a fate that they can't escape. As you know, Strahd was trapped in Barovia and Cordan trapped within the tree. And a lot of that temple puzzles were based on you essentially hurting another member of your party to sow discord and pain.
Right.
So why the
Um,
name Mosquito didn't match, and that's totally legit too. My intention of it was to stay true to that theme of control and oppression for Orcus.
Yeah, I get it, but
and
it's like it's like if it's a blood demon, why didn't it take our blood? That was my thing. It's like, okay, you got a vampire. What does he do, right, and so forth.
Yep.
That was the point. I got to be afraid of the
do
damn thing.
we know? Do we know why Ruben smelled of
Uh,
Broad? Is that still secret? And like we're gonna uncover that later? I'm still puzzled by
No,
that.
that was Kevin's thing. So I just ran with it
Okay.
when he threw it. Right?
You guys do a lot of out of game discussion.
Yeah, sort of. But the thing is, I want to be surprised too. So I'll just do like probably like 10% of it, I'd say, and then it's up to Kevin to fill in the 90, like where it goes, right?
Yep. And I
I'm giving
reserve.
you free reign with my character, Kevin.
I generally do sometimes. People who provide me with a little bit of stuff, I don't like to feel like your stuff is wasted effort. But of course, as you can see, sometimes it doesn't hit the mark as well it should, and I reserve the right to disappoint. But
It's your prerogative as a DM, I think.
but
Well,
there,
it's not always going to be 100%. Sometimes if it falls flat, it falls flat. I mean, even Kevin deserves to know, like, why didn't it work for you? That type of thing. So, on the next thing he makes, he'll try to improve upon it, right?
and
It beats watching TV one evening,
yeah, and who knows the changes that might. Yeah,
honestly.
I think you really fixed this, and then another player's like, yeah, I didn't really like that. But that's usually how it goes. I mean, there's 5 of us here, so. And the
hmm
players
Well,
are
it's hard to please everyone. I think the DM's job is the hardest one.
generally.
We
Oh,
just
thank
show
you.
up, Kevin.
People sometimes like, hey, I want to
Honestly.
I want to take this or that when they'll talk to me privately in chat. I'm like, sure, yeah, you do. And then of course it like has consequences and stuff. I want to steal this, or I want to put this, or I'm gonna wear this on my face. And then usually I think you guys get the most fun out of the reactions when other party members comment or make or force a
You
reaction
just
out
love
of them.
picking on Robert.
You guys do. He's experimenting with some other character types that are actually more cooperative. Without
He's learning from his mistakes.
The thing is, Robert's DM before, right? If he puts half his work from DMing into his character Orzo, maybe he wouldn't feel so bad.
He actually does. He does really good, and he's very creative. I appreciate him as a player because he does things that I would be way too reserved to try. So I really enjoy the different path that we end up in because of him.
Or like Hogan's heroes, they've been stuck in the prison for the longest time because of Hogan.
maybe.
I don't know of them.
Yeah, I would get the feeling you probably would enjoy being more of a DM than a player than Ruben, because when I play, I know like you're like he should put some effort into his character. Me on the other spectrum was like as soon as I play a game as a player, I do no effort as a character because I'm done all my prep. I'm not learning nothing. Start me off at level 1 so I don't have to learn the sift through the book.
Yeah, good point. You're like, my head is free now.
Exactly. I'm
No
right.
insights.
Right?
I get you. Okay.
All I have to remember is all the spells that are available to me.
Exactly, and
man,
that's the thing with
that's confusing
spellcasting.
enough.
As you get higher level, it's a whole lot of stuff you almost have to do homework with your character in order to
Mhm.
utilize them.
I have to reread my notes before every session, just remembering what I might use in what situation. And then when you level up, it's like, oh, what if others do this? Should I support them or should I attack more? And it's really confusing.
Mm-hmm.
That's me. Oh,
Oh,
Ken.
it's Ken.
It is.
Mhm.
Those
Hey, Ken.
those chops are getting luscious.
You're really showing the German now.
Sorry, what?
You're showing the German
Am
side
I
of
showing
you.
the German side?
Mhm.
Oh my gosh! If I were 30 years younger, I would look like a World War II submarine guy, because they wouldn't shave, right?
That's booty.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Well, this still would grow, right? In the
I should
submarine.
try. Yeah, it would. I've left it as chops. I guess it would. Sure.
Wow, that's robust.
Oh, there we go. I need a
It is quite
haircut.
thick.
I need a haircut. I need to do something.
Yeah, me too.
So I shampoo it every morning. But anyway,
Me too.
there we go. Hey, so the race is on. Sophie or I, who'll grow the longer? Who'll grow the better?
Well,
Chop.
mine's getting pretty long.
Oh, there. Yeah. You compete on that. You win on that. Yeah, for sure. So how's everyone?
Good. How about
Not
you?
too bad. And Ruben, you must be the green guy.
What was that?
You're the green guy, Ruben?
Yeah, I'm the green guy. 'Cause,
Okay, cool.
I don't trust my Wi-Fi. If I put it on video, I'm pretty sure it's gonna drop every once in a while.
Oh, that's okay.
Mm,
That's okay. So it's still good to hear your voice. It's good to hear Kevin's voice, Sophie's voice.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. I like this.
Ah, good to have you
Now,
guys.
before we continue, there's something very, very important I have to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hungry.
Okay.
I've been running around. So I want something decent. And I like the East Indian food really well, right? I really do, because I find it's better than a pizza. It seems healthier and so on, right? But I don't necessarily trust DoorDash or Skip the Dishes. What's your opinion on that?
You don't trust them to deliver your food or to recommend something?
I don't trust them to keep a hands-off approach
Oh,
on my
okay.
food.
Ooh. Oh, gross.
That's my thought. So, because they don't actually work for the restaurant, right? So, you guys had experience with that? What are your thoughts?
None of them come to my house.
Yeah, I know it was getting fat to come out was a challenge.
I know.
Oh yeah,
But
the
we did
pizza
it.
was it?
Yes. Yeah.
And none of these services come to my house. I am as close as can be to St. Albert, but I'm outside the city limits. So
That is all right.
yeah, I have I think a Uber Eats coupon from a conference, online conference, and they gave us a Uber Eats.
Oh, there we
I
go.
never,
There we
I
go.
never used it.
Well, as we go on, I'll
So-
consider what I'm going to do, and I'll do something. Now, is that a Cthulhu kind of mask behind you, Sophie, on the wall?
No, it is a fall scenery
Oh,
with a
okay.
face. Let me grab it.
Yeah,
Hang
at this distance, it almost looked like some kind of a Cthulhu mask or something. Oh, yeah, there we go. No, that's totally not a Cthulhu
Oh
mask.
wow. Oh
All
my
right.
on.
goodness.
Holy clock.
And it does look different
It
than
looks-
it did before. And it's really
German design, doesn't it?
kind of, sort of, yes. It gives you that. It gives you that
It has a
Bavarian,
Hummel look to
Bavarian
it.
Schwarzwald black forest.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And I actually have a in my house I have Hummels. Are you familiar
Hummels,
with
yeah.
them?
From Hamburg, the water carrier.
No, little characters like the little lady,
Oh,
the little
okay.
boy, little girl,
Okay.
little figurines. HUMMHU.
Yeah. Umlaut.
That's the one. Umlaut, double MEL.
Okay.
There were little figurines that they used to sell, and the company, they disappeared. But like even at Disney World at Epcot Center in the German pavilion, they had a whole
Oh,
store
neat.
with these little figurines, and it
Okay.
reminds me of this a little bit with
Yeah,
the cuckoo
clocks,
clocks
yeah,
and
I
all of
remember
that.
those.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So
With the metal acorns.
I have Hummels in my house. When I was younger, I made cross stitches, and I have a few of those in my house because I really like the Hummels.
Nice.
Is it Hummel then, with the umlaut?
Okay, so oo is a U. Ooh. All right.
Yeah. So
look
HU
Yeah, so,
umlaut.
yeah, exactly. So oo Move your tongue closer to your teeth. Ooh, it's an
Ooh.
Yes,
Female.
right? Because there's 29 letters.
Female?
29 letters in the alphabet.
Well, there's the S set, S, the
A
B.
double S, because there are some words with 3 S's in a row. So they came up with a double S. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I took a German class. I know Der die das.
Oh wow, very nice, very nice. And I am willing to. I want to learn the parlez-vous français, but I'm waiting for you to teach me more words. You know?
Oh, so I'll teach you one thing today. Sorry, Kevin. I'm hijacking your.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. It's free.
A
free
German moon is masculine,
Yeah.
right? It's the moon
believe
is
so.
masculine. In French,
Oh really?
it's feminine. If you ever want to wonder why, it's got a 28-day cycle.
Is
so it
the
is a
sun
feminine
masculine
moon
in French?
in French. It is very
And
masculine.
the sun is female in German. Die
I
Sonne.
know, they're completely reversed. So
Yes,
le
they are.
soleil, la lune.
La Lune.
Yeah,
Ah,
au
makes
clair de
sense.
la lune.
There we go.
It's got a 28-day cycle. I could never get past that in
Der
German,
Mond.
that it was a masculine moon.
Der
And
Mond.
I'm like, no.
Der Mond.
Der
M-O-N-D.
Mond.
Pronounced like a
Mond.
Der Mond.
Der
Mond.
Mond.
Mond, like Mona.
Mond.
Der Mond.
Mond.
Mond. Yes.
Yeah, la lune.
There we go. And if the moon is
Sorry,
really
Kevin.
bright, if the moon's really bright and it annoys you, verdammt hell. Damn bright. Verdammt hell. Hell is bright. H-E-L-L.
Hell.
Hell. Bright.
Hell.
Yeah, so la lune.
No,
La
right?
lune. There we go. There we go.
It sounds like you're swearing when it's damn bright.
Hey, in Australia, there was a kid. They wanted this kid's name changed because the Austrian family, the last name Hell, which means bright. So when you see Hellman's mayonnaise, Brightman's. Okay.
Oh.
All right. So, but there's the Catholic school board in Australia. They wanted this kid's surname changed because to them it was blasphemous. But it was from Austria. Und sie sprechen Deutsch, nicht Englisch, Dummkopf. So
Yeah.
it's bright. It's hell. Hell is not a yeah.
Yeah.
Another
is
another
bright.
word
Okay.
that does not.
That makes no sense. Hell is not bright.
There we go.
It's
Here's
super
another
dark.
word that totally is totally different in English. You know what a gift is, right? You know what a gift is in English?
Mhm.
Okay. So in German, gift is gas, air, gas.
Oh.
All right.
Like a gift
no,
of
sorry.
present.
No, gas is gas. I got it wrong. Gift is poison. Gift is poison. Forgive me. Gift is poison.
So a German gift is an English poison.
Ooh.
Yes. And ein Schenk or Geschenk is a gift in German. That to give a gift, ein Schenk or Geschenk, right? But if you give someone a gift, gift is poison. Not
Oh, if you say gift, if you say the word gift in German, it means
it does
poison.
mean poison.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. You do not want a gift
No,
poison.
you do not. No, you do not.
So Ken, no, Ken, was ist los in der Hosen?
In meiner Hosen. Was ist drin meiner Hosen ist nicht für dich. What's in my pants is not for you. He's asking me what is new in the pants, right?
What is new in
Why?
the
Is that a
pants?
saying?
Well, you ask him. He was talking about hosen his pants.
Yeah, someone taught me that phrase.
Oh my goodness.
Is it like
What
a
rhymes?
flirting
Los.
phrase?
Was ist los is the English version of that would be what's up, what's new. Was ist los? Was ist los in die Hosen, right? It kind of rhymes a little bit, so I think that's why he.
But is it a saying?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Later
Maybe from
hosen.
because I learned
Thing.
it from a German
You know those
person.
Bavarians with their leather shorts, lederhosen? Yeah, later is leather.
Oh.
Lederhosen.
Go. All right, and that was German 101 for today. And now for a lesson in love, we turn over to Kevin.
Well, first thing and last is that we got to figure out how you're gonna get your Indian food.
Oh, that's true too. I am hungry. So what am I ordering, guys? What am I ordering and where from?
I'm not sure. I mean, you could also call the restaurant directly, say, see if they order. I mean, that's also an option. Sometimes I do that for.
Wouldn't you have to pick up then?
I would have I want. See, the Indian food, you get vegetables, and when I order from them, if I spend about $36, I can make that last 3 suppers.
Oh wow.
Yes,
Not having kids is wonderful, isn't
it is. Yes. So, anyway,
I was just telling Kevin I had salad because we had leftovers and I wanted the good stuff for the kids and the husband, so I had vegetables,
Oh,
well,
salad,
that's healthy.
just plain green
Keep the
salads.
cancer
It
away. And that's
was.
a good thing.
I know. That's good, but I had
Here's
beer
it.
after
I've
that, so
got strong later on. Yeah, I'm having apple cider strong. Yes, in honor of Kevin.
oh, there
Oh.
you go.
Yeah. So I'll figure out what I'm ordering. Should I just keep it simple and order pizza? It's so lame and ugh.
oh, butter chicken is so good.
Yes,
Go for
yes,
it.
yes, yes.
go
Okay,
for
we're doing
it.
butter chicken.
Yeah.
So now you've got me doing it. I'm doing it.
And there's what's it called? There's a vegetable in like this creamy sauce that is so delicious. I can't remember what it's
Oh,
called.
navratan. I've had navratan, which is vegetables in a curry kind of creamy sauce. And that
I
navratan.
think it was more of a korma.
Okay, it could be. It could be. The Kadai chicken is good too, by the way. Okay, okay. I'm calling.
Okay. Well, I hope you enjoy your Indian food. In the meantime, yeah, we were just
I'm going to
discussing
put you on mute while I do this.
on,
Okay.
or what I've determined is this party's preference for role playing and story. And anytime you guys feel like, hey, I'm done for the night, that's okay too, because this is like a 3 to or a 7 to 10 engagement. But it's good to hang out and talk about what we like out of DM. Me, for instance, I would say I'm one of those people that need constant stimulation. So for being a DM is just like everything's coming at you real fast, which I love.
Good.
Yeah, it's a lot
You do it really well because like those 2 story games and like wow,
thanks. I was probably
like that stint with Anastasia.
oh yeah, that was probably the highlight. I mean, like I've never done anything like that, but it was super cool.
Whew.
And
Yeah. I think whatever you like, I'm cool with. And so maybe I'm boring by not giving you guidelines, but I'll take it.
no, it's good. That's what I get to understand what you guys feel like you want out of D&D, and some people it's like escapism, some people it's to hang out with
understood.
friends. Some people it's like, hey, I just want to hang out and drink beer and have snacks. Other people like, hey, I got a lot of storyline, or I want to be able to talk. When it's like you go out to a party or something and then you talk about what you did afterwards as if you were there. And I know a lot of people do that. There were times where a friend, he would constantly is like, in every session I've getting eaten somehow. Do you remember that garbage pile that was actually a mimic? Oh yeah, I remember that. So
That's what makes you grow as a group is you collect those stories of like when Robert ate the refuse in one of the first few sessions we played.
He was only doing that to get that accolade because of
I know, but he still did it.
he did.
and he kept it.
It adds
so,
up.
In a way, the accolade kind of shaped Orzo, not Robert.
In a way, it kind of did.
We were going for these titles before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't say 100%, but I was like, all those I thought of it now. All those accolades. That's what made Orzo. It was the accolades.
Yeah, it was an experience in the beginning, and it's interesting. I tell this to Ruben too, and a few other people, Robert, that when we all met together as a group, it's hard to tell what each person wanted to get out of D&D when they came, and what their preferences are for D&D.
I was actually just really happy that I'd be part of a campaign because all I played before was one-offs.
Mm-hmm.
And so having a campaign, like it's really hard when you don't know anybody else
That's
who
true.
plays. I was really just glad that we were gonna do a
I know what you're
campaign.
talking about. I had that problem since I was 8 years old playing D&D. We'd play it's like I get my friends together. They meet my DM when I was like 9 or something. We play like 2 sessions, and all of a sudden, because of school, everything just fell apart. And
Yeah.
then usually when you find someone else, is like from my experience, it's always one guy's the DM and one guy's a player, and then it's like, okay, it's been 4 sessions, let's switch, right?
Oh, you guys did that?
When there's only 2 people playing.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
been my experience because it's like, well, I played since the 80s. It was hard to find people
Yeah.
to play D&D, right? And try to get
Well, and
organized in the summer when people go to summer camp or have Boy Scouts, right? To how to get all those friends together.
not everybody likes the game.
Well, yeah, that was the thing. And then I don't know how I think it was Critical Role that sort of pushed it. Critical Role
It
and
gave it a
Stranger,
boost.
right? Kind of made more popular.
But I think like Stranger Things made a huge difference.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
it
did.
did.
Stranger Things was another one that did because it got a younger target audience. Yes, it did.
That, and for me, more than Stranger Things, it was Ready Player One.
Oh yeah,
Ready Player
that was
One?
tied into D&D.
The
I liked
book,
it.
not the movie.
Oh yeah, the book is totally different. I never read
The
it, but I
book-
keep hearing that.
Oh, I
it
saw the
is
film. Yeah.
better.
There's the very first key in the book is actually in one of the first Tomb of Horror. It's one of the very first module from D&D is where he
Oh.
finds
Okay.
the first key in the book. If you haven't read it, please read it. It's really good.
That's pretty
There's
cool.
so many references to the 80s. It's not even funny, but I read that book many times. And there's like Gygax. I wouldn't have known his
Gary
name if it
Gygax,
hadn't
he
been
was
for
in
the
like
book.
Futurama and Simpsons.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't
well,
know
I
his
didn't
name
watch
either
The
until I started really
Simpsons.
getting into D&D. And
So I knew references to D&D because of that book and then the Stranger Things and Cedric wanted to play. So, but
Vegetable
like-
korma.
those 2 things.
Sorry, I found the korma. It's the little things in life that
So-
excite me.
Uh-huh. So anyways, that's for me that's what brought it back. But I know for a lot of people the Stranger Things was what I know for the kids is what brought it
That's
back
right.
to popularity.
Yeah, I will agree with you on that.
They have teens in schools that are like, and then some high school teachers who used to play in the 80s that are now hosting clubs in junior high and high school.
Oh, they're doing it now. Mm.
I want to go back to high school. Not really, but you know.
Just for the club.
I really don't.
it was
No,
easier,
couldn't pay
but
me
also
enough for
No,
that.
I don't
kinda
want
hard.
Thanks.
Being an adult is
High school was okay. It was
Yeah.
junior high that was annoying.
I actually loved junior high. I hated high school. I think my group in junior high was still innocent enough. We were like elementary school kids. We didn't judge yet.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
good.
junior high.
Mhm.
Junior high, the kids were. Anyway, I'm glad I don't know them anymore. They were bad.
Oh no, I enjoy being an adult. I wouldn't say high school was any bad for me. And there's only 2 types of schools in BC. It was just like kindergarten to 7 and then 8 to 12 versus middle school
Ah.
and stuff in Alberta. But it was a decent time, and yeah, that's what I like. And then you hang out, drive over to D&D sessions, drink beer, it's whatever. it's just more freedom, I think.
Adulting can be hard, but D&D,
It's good. Oh yeah, and that's what I did mention to some of the other folks. In terms of parameters for D&D, no one knew what they were getting into. Um, in terms of what you guys want, like some people really love the fantasy, but they like their black and white fantasy. You know, villains are always villainous, irredeemable. So what I would say, that's more like simple kind of morality, and maybe other people enjoy a more complex morality system where you do focus on maybe heavier topics of not completely right and wrong. And that ties in with, your escapist thing. You don't even, if you're really into escapism and like, I'm here to take down dragons and not worry too much about moral quandaries, maybe, yeah, that's a game you might want to search out too. But what's your feeling for this group here in terms of moral complexity?
it's making me learn. I think in real life I'm very more of a black or white, you're good or you're not good, and seeing it how it changes, how Strahd is now on our side, like how characters evolve.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's cool in D&D. That's the nice thing is you're not supposed to judge and just let people do what they want to do and go with it. Or at least that's the way I see it, and I hope that people don't judge me. So I, that's what one thing that's beautiful about the game is just you do what your creativity tells you to do and fly with it. So I think it helps you learn outside of the game too. Am I being too
No,
philosophical?
Oh, that's a really good
no,
way
I
of
think you're
looking at it.
banging on accurate.
It bends the rules that you try to limit yourself to in real life, and it lets you freedom to discover try different things.
I totally agree, and that's what I really like about it too. Sometimes it's when you're doing one shots, it's fun to just explore different ideas, or you go in there, you go for one shots, it's zero commitment, and you can free your mind, and all you do is have fun. But what's nice about campaigns, and I think what a lot of people really want out of it, is this feeling of continuity and feeling like you're making a difference in the game world. Because if we weren't, I guess we'd all be playing solitaire or something, where each game is self-contained. um, but yeah, through this previous arc and like everything you guys have done, looks like a few characters. Like if you were to say which one of your characters, which other character your character likes most, would you be able to answer?
Say that last part again.
If there's another character in the party, would
Yeah.
you be able to tell, or have you decided on whether or not who your character gets along with best and who generally they like the best?
Oh yeah, I mean, you when you get into a character, like you get into the character. I do tend to get into Tana, and Tana will find certain people more relatable and more closer bond than others. So in this past campaign, Tana was closer to Briseis and Erkin than to Orzo and Alistair. But with Alistair, only because it didn't seem I didn't see many opportunities to bridge with Alistair so much. So and Sita, so she Tana also found closeness to Sita. But again, yeah, that's as you play the character, you know what your character is supposed to be about. At least that's how I play it. And based on what your character is supposed to be about, certain personalities and whatnot will click more than others. And yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
Yeah. the situation.
Yeah,
defines
Briseis
the moment.
clicked with Erkin because we're sisters-in-law and we're both birds when we want
Yep.
to. And I'm very intrigued with her fugue, is that a word? Like just she's more wild. She's less constrained. And so Briseis is kind of fascinated by that
Mm-hmm.
and really admires Orzo's creativity and total randomness, loves Tana's goodness in every shape or form, and um, um, Alistair is intimidating to her because she has absolutely no knowledge of trade, commerce, warfare, and he talks so competently about those things, she almost wants to cower
that's
under
Yeah,
his
I'll agree
carriage.
with again with Tana, sort of the same thing. Yeah, it's a little bit, yeah, because you align yourself when you're what you know about the character and what the other characters talk about, and yeah, I'll agree with that.
Kind of wants to call him captain all the time, but like that's not how they met. And it's like, oh, he knows so much. I feel like a kid next to him.
Yeah. Well, that's not even his rank either, but but yeah, he is.
No, but you know, like for the little knowledge that Briseis has, she feels like she's not known the world at all.
Hmm.
And Urkin took her under her wing, and Tana's just good. Like
Tana's just yeah. Tana is good-hearted.
she,
I played Tana
and
as a very
Siva,
moral character, loving and supportive. That's who I wanted Tana to be.
yep, got her. So who wouldn't love Tana?
I'm sorry.
Who wouldn't love
Oh,
Tana?
I'm sure there's somebody out there somewhere, but well, there's always somebody in life, right?
Yeah,
But hey, you know, when this group, I think it all worked out well.
it did. You guys.
Does that answer your question?
I'm sorry.
Also,
Does that answer Kevin's
Ah.
question?
About moral complexity, because that's what we started off on.
Oh, about like which character our
Oh, yeah,
character
yeah.
no, like the story
relates
I think
with
he was
and-
pertaining to, right?
Yeah,
Like, do
yeah.
you want like black and white villains? Like villains will be villains, and your NPCs will all be good guys. They'll never backstab you and shit like that, right?
No. No. Yes.
Yeah, you know, I thought.
Well, we've met some backstabbing NPCs.
No.
Yeah. But yeah,
It was an
hearing
example, but
hearing about your characters and who they get along with is it's super cool. And sometimes you guys will have, I would say, extended role play sessions. Sometimes I worry because with my other group they might want to just get to the action, but maybe I think you guys actually really enjoy those extended. I really don't do anything, and you guys honestly have a ball being your characters. I
Like that masquerade ball thingy.
yeah,
Yeah.
we don't have enough of that one. That stuff like that, the fun stuff, right? It's
yeah.
where it's like it's not always about
But
combat.
battles are fun too. I think there's a good balance between the two. And you need to have evenings where it can be a little bit easier
Oh, for
on
sure.
you, Kevin, too.
Yeah, and that's no problem. And I figure you guys might want to. You've done a lot of things for this previous arc, and I think now is a good break for actually getting around to role play. You can still do stuff around the city, and kind of like you don't really you're not in any rush really to push forward the plot. You can continue on with messing around, visiting the shops, and yeah, those masquerade balls and such as well. And so sometimes I do feel like I got to push stuff along, but that's up to when the rest of the group comes together. And I'll probably give an hour or two before the actual session start to really like, hey, maybe if you guys really do enjoy this, I'll just sit back until you guys finish off your session of role playing, and then you can continue on. And then maybe some of the other party members are like, I feel like I want to.
I think that was what was cool about coming in early for the sessions at tabletop is we could start doing some of that like out of game stuff and then get some of the socializing not out of the way but started without being in game.
Hmm.
So I miss the in person for that because we show up at 7 and then we visit and then start.
Yeah.
And I think having that time before the session started gave you maybe sometime having an idea of where to take it that day, kind of get the vibe of the group that day.
Yeah, it kind of did. So I usually play off of you guys, and then you guys play off of me. So yeah, but of course, ultimately, I set the tone. But it's good that you mentioned that. It seems like social interaction, something in short supply during the pandemic, is in a way being met why we are playing D&D. So
And I'm not even working at home. I can't imagine people working from home all the time. Like,
yeah, I'm also a student right now, so I don't really have to go out, but and that being said, in terms of tone as well, I know for a fact. So Ruben and I talked, and he is quite a dedicated role player in a sense, where I suppose most of us aren't as experienced, but I do know, like I was talking to my girlfriend about it, and Ruben, like I do feel, hey, you're almost using D&D as a vehicle to be an actor, as opposed to some of the other players who come here that just kind of play and be somebody else. But it's almost like the same mindset I have, where I come in and it's a performance for me, of holding down the combat, holding down the role play, holding down the accents and stuff. So in some groups, you might expect a level, if you're really into role play, you might expect a level of dedication from other players. But we all have different levels, and that's totally okay here too. You there, Ruben?
the only accent I'm good at is the French one.
I think I lost
Probably
him.
get practice to try something more.
So,
Good with like English accents or Australian accents, anything that's English. Everything else, it's I have to labor for it.
Yeah.
It'll die after one sentence.
Yeah, but I'm really impressed that you do give a lot of weight to acting. So, and I do enjoy what everyone does bring to the table too. I mean, I read a lot of puzzles for because Sophie, in that sense,
thank
'cause you
you.
love it, and I do like the open-ended puzzles as well because it's interesting to see how you guys solve those ones where it has no right answer.
And like it doesn't have to be like it. I didn't say that to put pressure on you. I like them, but you don't feel a need to have them in every. And I mean, they're hard on everyone because if we can't come up with the answer, then we all feel like,
We missed out on something good.
well, that was a failure.
In which
Yeah,
case,
right?
Yeah,
So
they can be kid puzzles too. It can be too complicated. For me, I'm like, I don't want to think anymore.
no, it's
I'm in a character roleplay. I'm thinking of that one.
yeah, and it's cool that people have different, what's the word, priorities when it comes to playing D&D. And I know you shared it with me, Ruben, but I was actually quite impressed with your dedication to wanting this as an avenue to really be an actor.
Although I'm not an actor, it's just something I dabbled into. My mother forced me into that one once. You should go for this commercial. It's in Toronto. I'm like, no, Ma, I don't want to do that.
So when
Wow,
Things
that's
we don't
actually
know
kind of
about
cool. I'm
others,
very
right?
impressed.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, yeah.
So when Ruben plays Alistair, he is what Ruben told me is that you shouldn't be able to distinguish Alistair from Ruben. So if Alistair's upset, one might not necessarily think that Ruben is upset, which is in some circles, that's the goal in and of itself. I'm more of the camp where it's like you should be able to tell when the actor is speaking or when the character is speaking, when the player is speaking. But
Because
Right.
with the Spanish accent, I have so much trouble with it. I told myself, well, if Kevin Costner didn't do it in Robin Hood, why should you? Right?
it's fair.
Because he tried and everybody laughed at him. Like, yeah, I'll just do the Kevin Costner thing.
Yeah, and when it comes to the setting of the new arc, well, this new arc, this last eventual blood demon you're going to face, I'll get the group together and see if you guys still want to keep the general tone. I feel like it's lighthearted with some urgency, but mostly you got the freedom to kind of fuck around almost, without feeling like I gotta push you into it.
Well, yeah, like the ball. All of a sudden, Erkin like turned it into disaster. I was like, that's kind of cool. She did it in a way where she didn't get in trouble for it, right? By the authorities. So,
I thought you were actually talking about a ball, and I'm like, what did I miss again?
Oh, the masquerade,
Something else.
the nobles' dinner, and all that stuff,
yeah.
where you got to rub elbows, where little bits of your history come into play, and things like Alistair's general noble heritage as quite a benefit to your party at that point. And him dealing with the authorities and Orzo almost like screwing it up because they know who it is that killed those two guards.
Yeah, I'm curious to find out if I will have Briseis will have offended the Raven Queen by not taking her up on becoming a not paladin, what's the word? Warlock, and just where that ties in. Yeah, warlock.
Okay.
And so I want to see how that finishes off and where the Shadow Monk goes, like that whole Singing Stone. I'm still stuck on that because I thought like, okay, we're going, and then we veered off. So I'm hoping we come back and finish tight in those ends.
Yeah.
Although we have a lot of traveling to do to get to where we started. And there are husbands waiting for us in Barovia, so
yeah, what
That's
have they
true.
been doing in Barovia while you were gone?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
And
right.
Erkin did mention one thing about it too, where there was a bit of in the letter sent from her husband that there was a fight between the newly reliving Warlock Strahd and the Abbot.
right. So there's a lot of places we can take this, and I feel like, okay, now we have 5 levels to finish all of that.
I
Yeah,
just
but the
like
thing is
bam,
with,
bam, bam, level up.
And finish.
the thing
And there you
I
go.
want to know is like if Kevin's gonna keep the Shadowfell thing now. Like, is it still gonna be horror-ish, or is it just gonna be plain adventuring, like D&D adventuring, where anything goes?
The Shadowfell? Well, I mean, what do you mean? You're not in the Shadowfell.
Well, like horror theme. Like, well, now that the new Shadowfell, the horror theme book came out.
Oh, well,
But we didn't play that book, did we?
yeah, no
It
comment because
ties
I
into
haven't read it.
The Ravenloft.
Yeah,
Oh.
I haven't read it. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, so be right back.
Washroom break. You still there, Ken?
Oh, I'm still here. I think I got it.
Unfortunately, I don't trust the skip the dishes and all this delivery stuff. I'm going with Pizza 73 only because it's their own people delivering their own food.
Well, because my brother-in-law owned a restaurant, and when he had skipped the dishes on his restaurant, that they actually bumped up his prices on Skip the Dishes. So Skip the Dishes is taking a cut
Yes, I know
off
that.
the restaurants,
Yeah,
right? So
DoorDash is preferred over Skip. That's true. The other
yeah,
thing that's bad with Skip is there can be service issues. I've got a friend of mine here in the building. He on 2 occasions, on New Year's Eve and then on his birthday a few weeks later, January 15th, several hours late, and they didn't give him what they ordered, and anyway, it was just terrible. So that's why I tend to stay away from that a little bit.
oh. So what's the ETA on your food?
I'm finding out in a minute here. I've just ordered it. There's a special, so I'm taking the special. Um, I'm gonna get some extra dipping sauces, I think. I do like the extra dipping sauces. What were we gonna get? Peppercorn ranch. I like peppercorn ranch. There we go. I think that'll do it. And add to order. Okay, so we're good. We're doing checkout. Okay, delivery. Okay, confirm. Is everybody still there? You're quiet.
Yeah.
We are. I didn't think you were talking to us.
Oh, that's
I thought you
okay.
were putting your
I
order.
was. Oh.
There's quite the instrument lineup behind Kevin.
I believe that's a ukulele, and
There's a guitar on the side too, I think.
on the corner, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Kevin told me he was into music, like as a musician. type of
Wasn't
thing,
he in a band?
or
Doesn't he
something
have a
like that.
band
Yeah.
or?
Gotta ask him when he comes back.
Mm-hmm. And plants. I don't have a very green thumb, so.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I just look at him like, nah, I don't want to try. My parents tried to make
Actually,
me do it, and I was like, no, I don't like.
I have a radish and strawberries growing in my house right now, but that's all Cedric. That's not me.
Um,
Kevin,
Yes.
do you have a guitar and a ukulele?
The guitar is mine, and the
And the
ukulele is my
keyboard.
girlfriend's. Yeah.
Oh, neat. I'm very impressed.
Did you sing or play? You had a band, you said before, right?
Yeah, both. I was a music major in university. So I did my
And so you sing as well.
yeah, I was part of choir, which was a required course, but my major instrument was guitar.
Cool.
Yeah, it was really good.
You're a tenor?
Baritone.
Baritone.
Mm-hmm. A few artsy students in here, apparently.
I was in a choir in a previous life.
Choir is a lot of fun, though. The sense of
It
community.
is fun.
Yeah, and that's what I definitely love from D&D is the sense of community. I was going to reveal this to the other. Actually, Anastasia and is not here, so she would be the only one that wouldn't know. So the reason I put you guys on that gigantic map is both to facilitate like a more of a bigger world where it's not just you don't feel so alone in it. And the second reason is that because I find that it does get harder to make friends as you get older. When you play D&D, it's normally you meet your group and then you stay with your group of 7 people. So my plan is to get several other parties together onto one game map and do what we're doing now, where what you do in that general world you can kind of see. Like I explained earlier, when Tana made her class change, that beam of light, The other group saw what was going on, or they actually saw that beam of light shoot up from the swamp while they were somewhere else. So,
Cool.
yeah, all they saw was just this gigantic beam of light just come out of nowhere.
And they're gonna go investigate and see nothing.
Likely, or they're actually kind of too far away, but they are like, I actually don't
Okay.
know what happened right there. And the
Cool.
point is, eventually, I'm hoping like after COVID or when it's under control, that we can have a get together, and you guys can be able to talk and meet one another. And what's nice, I think, is the plan is that D&D provides this platform where you don't have to go completely icebreaker, where you just meet each other and who are you and the standard questions. It's more like, I have already kind of heard of you. It's, what's the word? I think it's a warm introduction versus the cold introduction.
I only watched one session from the other group, but I enjoyed watching it, and it does make you want to meet them and see, learn more about them.
Good. I'm glad that it's
That was cool.
getting.
I like that idea.
Yeah. I'm glad you guys are on board, because you guys are in my experiment of me using D&D as a way to build communities and to bring more people together. What I have been doing is, because you guys are on the Hex map, the other group right now is making an attempt to take territory, which we call, if you ever played any Hex-based board games like Civilization, Catan, or something of the sort.
That's my favorite game.
Exactly. So you can
Civilization.
build your settlements, and they take an area of land there, or a number of hexes. That's actually what the other guys are planning to do. So I'll give you a bit of I'll go into general chit chat, and I'll give you a short images of it. So I'll give the abridged version eventually when Anastasia is able to see it, because Robert already knows about it. Docs. So
We're
here,
practically neighbors now, apparently. To figure out which house she bought, but she's very close to mine.
I'm excited to hear that, honestly. That's super cool. So, there in general chit chat, I put up a picture where parties can start to build fortifications and start taking, like, controlling land and such.
We have a map like that with Barovia and what we own.
Exactly. So you
that's
own
good.
that section of Barovia, and this is being one of the reasons I started taking away long rest while you're out in the wilderness, is to force you to have to find a safe haven. That being said, safe havens generally are owned like guard towers or cities, and if those cities are owned by other players, you would have to pay gold in order to use them.
Make friends.
Exactly, and that's the major intention with this, is that you guys begin to start to own your own land. Barovia will have its own radius, and they begin to take up some land the south of Ryatavin, and while you're traveling on foot in the wilderness and you can't take a long rest until you find somewhere safe, that's exactly where you're going to be trying to stay.
So if another group comes to Barovia, you'll role play us as our husbands, to charge rent or something like that.
Yeah, essentially. I will
Like if they come to Ravenloft.
Yes. So if they go to Ravenloft, I will make sure they know out of game this is owned by another player. I don't have current rules for taking territory away from each other, but I would emphasize, like, hey, you guys are cooperative right now, so don't burn Barovia down. So if you want to stay here, you will have to pay a gold, which your party sets. That's this group here, Orzo's Heroes, sets the price on what they want to pay in Castle Ravenloft and all that shit, and whether or not they're going to get any bonuses for, like, good food or souvenirs and stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We don't own the toy shop in Barovia, right?
You own the castle. You're not like lords of Ravenloft, but you are
No, no, no.
considered heroes.
I know. I'm just thinking they're gonna go and buy toys in that store.
We should buy shares from that toy maker, so we'll own part
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah,
One
you
gold
could.
a share.
I can send the Raven for that.
And then if they want to buy it, well, they're gonna have to buy the shares off of us.
That's
That's if
Makes sense.
Blansky makes it public, not private.
I'm not too much into throwing business into that fantasy world, but I'm okay if others.
I was just
need it.
spitballing on that one. I
Yeah.
was just,
Yeah, yeah.
throwing a suggestion.
those kind of things can be done out of game. And when it comes to land ownership and stuff, it's more of a background thing, but it does affect the way you play, because you're still traveling as a party on foot. You're not playing so much of a board game. But the other parties, they've taken a mine, taken resources, and that in itself, I believe, it's a springboard for interaction. It's like, hey, this stuff is happening down south, and when the groups finally meet or something of the sort, it's a way to make friends, essentially.
Cool.
And that's my major goal, and that's why I threw you guys together. So when eventually tabletop opens up again, or like the pandemic is under control, I am going to be doing exactly that. But I hear other cafes are also looking for DMs, called like the Clumsy Dragon Guild or something. I just saw.
The Clumsy Dragon?
Yeah, the Clumsy
Where's
Dragon.
that?
Yeah, the Clumsy Dragon Tabletop Guild apparently is a place that's opened up, but I don't know where, or I don't know when. But they're looking for DMs, and I'm like, interesting.
I like the name, though. Clumsy Dragon.
Yeah.
Oh, so speaking of dragons, hey, Sophie, did you ever go to the Dragon Rouge back in Quebec? That medieval-themed restaurant in Montreal?
I know the name. I would like to say that I've never been there, but I know the name. Isn't it a chain,
I
or
think
is
it's
it just a one place?
Le Dragon Rouge. I was brought over there like 15 years ago or so for a birthday party, and then they have like minstrels singing all these medieval themed dishes.
I have not been there,
No.
but I've heard the name, but no, I've never been. I also 15 years ago knew nothing of Dungeons and
Oh.
Dragons other than nerds at school carried dice in their pockets. Because it was a boy game at the time, and girls weren't allowed to
Girls
play.
were not allowed to play what?
Dungeons and Dragons. The boys didn't want the girls to play.
That's because the girls
Interesting.
didn't like it, except for that one girl that all of a sudden is like, "Yeah, I'll play it."
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, and I
yeah.
was more athletic, less nerdy.
It's typical
Oh, that's
of
okay.
nerd circles too. I've seen it all a bunch. Where I know a few girls who play Smash Brothers. As soon as, I don't know how this keeps going, but there'll be some salty boys. As soon as you show interest in a topic, they'll almost have to play trivia. Oh, I'm into Mario. Oh yeah, well tell me what's the inside of Mario's zipper pleat. Something of the sort.
Now that's nerd.
I know,
That's
those type of
way beyond
nerds.
nerd.
But it was like, dragons and dwarves, and it was for boys. Like girls.
Yeah, that was a general assumption back then.
Yeah.
But the Le Dragon Rouge, that was when I was in CEGEP. Someone brought me.
Yeah, I've heard the name. I definitely have probably heard commercials for it, but I've never
Yeah,
been.
that was the first time I was disappointed in the automatic charge of gratuity fee and entertainment fee. They charged an extra 15% on your bill because they had entertainers role playing as minstrels and stuff. And I was like, what? I would have not liked to pay for this. I didn't have that much money at the time.
Was it just an automatic charge for your tip, and then you didn't have to leave a tip because it was already pre-built in the
it was
bill,
something
or?
like that. No, I was just shocked. It's like, already? It's kind of like living in Europe. I was like, oh, I don't have to tip. But I was like, wow.
Do you not have to tip in Europe?
Certain places, I think, right? That's what I heard.
Oh, nice.
It's already in the charge.
Hey.
There you go.
Nice, Ken.
This is
That's
from
Karen.
Emily. People might remember Emily, my other DM, and this is her version of Tana.
Hey, cool. Did she drew that?
Are the flowers tattoos?
Yes, I believe so.
Nice.
That's beautiful.
There we go. Oh, yeah, she did good
Is
work.
she majoring in art?
Sorry.
Is she majoring in art?
No,
Like,
not
is-
at all.
Or she does that
she
for
just
fun?
does it for fun. So I gave her money, and she did a good job. She did a
Mm-hmm.
really good job.
That is a good job.
So yeah,
Nice.
there we go. And the pizza's on its way.
Awesome.
You
Happy
switched
for
It
you.
your
only took an
mind.
hour for me to decide to place an
Oh
order.
my goodness.
Anyway,
And that's what I miss about
And
going
you
to
went with
tabletop.
pizza
People would
after
just
all.
like, you know, or it'd be like Emily or Jess, and they'd bring us our food.
Yep.
Miss
Yep.
it.
Yeah.
That was nice, actually. On Wednesday, not having to cook was
Mm.
nice.
go.
Yeah, I know. It was just those candies. It was like, I should have got candies. Now there's no one like, when you have a craving for something, you're actually like when you don't have it, you don't have it.
Yeah,
The nearest
I do
one
miss that.
is Board and Brew. And
That's another
Ones,
name?
yeah, it's called Board and Brew, and it is, I think, 109 and about 102 or 103. And I think we're close now to at least being fully vaccinated.
I got my second shot. Ouch.
You did?
Hey, congratulations.
Holy crap. Yeah, I was like sick. I had mini COVID for 24 hours.
Yeah,
that was
everybody
not fun.
says on your second shot you're gonna feel something.
Oh, yeah, I felt something. And then some. It was not good. I knew it. I knew that's what it was, but like barely could lift my arm. I had full body aches, chills, fevers. I was shaking uncontrollably. I felt like this was a bowling ball.
No.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, not fun.
Yes, but no
That's
blood,
And 24
no
hours,
blood
it was
clot
fine.
risk though, right?
Well, I had Moderna, so I
No,
don't think that's
from the
a,
mRNAs, no.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
happy because my first shot was AstraZeneca because that was all that was available to me. But
Mhm.
we can now mix and match. So my second one will be Pfizer BioNTech,
Woo!
and
Mhm.
I don't have to risk the blood clot a second time. So yay!
Mhm.
Looking good.
Yeah,
I just
but-
had my Pfizer and that was it so far.
2
All good.
weeks.
Yeah, we can definitely give a shot at getting together again once everyone's fully vaccinated, and we'll see how that goes.
But get ready for that second one, guys.
Yeah, and I was thinking I could take a
will.
day off if I go for it, right? So
Yeah, go on a day you don't have to work the next day, because I sure would not have been able to work that
My
day.
company
No
will give
way.
me up to 3 days off for when I get my shot.
Nice.
So
That's really good.
that is nice. They're very
that's,
understanding.
that's nice.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
You know, I think it's also because we haven't been sick in so long. Nobody's
Oh.
gotten a cold
Oh, I
or
can tell you,
anything
I got
in
the
so
flu shot
long.
last fall, and yeah, no, the closest I had was I actually developed my first sniffle. What was that? 2 months ago? I think Kevin, I told you 2 months ago, and I went down. Maybe it was 3 months ago now, and I went down to the Agricomp, and they tested me within hours. Like I had my
Oh, yeah,
final
you had the
results.
rapid test.
Yeah, I had the rapid test and everything done. So the same day I went in the morning, and by the evening I had, I was clear. There was nothing. It was just a runny nose, and that's the only thing that I've had in over a year now.
Oh, nice.
Well, we wash our
It's-
hands,
Yeah,
right?
I don't think that's going
And,
away, and I'm happy to hear that. You know.
That is good. Yes.
I miss hugs.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We can have a
We
hug
do.
fest
And
when
then-
we're back at Tabletoppers.
Yeah.
It's just I'm gonna
My
miss
daughter
the,
will be happy.
Yeah, I'm just gonna miss the old location.
Yeah, I will too. I
Yeah.
liked it. I liked it a lot.
He's not reopening it, or plans to reopen.
He couldn't. He had to financially. He had to break ties with that landlord,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just because it was too much.
Yeah.
It was too much.
It's 2.5
Well,
times.
I hope they get it back eventually.
It's
But he's not going to open a second location somewhere else, or
Oh,
is he just-
somewhere I'm sure in the future for sure. If he makes money, he'll expand.
Yeah, he has to build up more capital again, eh? Kind of like a setback.
This would be kind of a
That's a
setback.
huge
yeah,
setback.
it's
Yeah.
quite a setback.
COVID-19, kind of a setback.
Oh yeah, a
Anyway.
little bit. Things slowed down a bit.
We should trademark this, Ken.
Yeah, that's something we can tell our kids, our grandkids, or whatever.
Oh
I
yeah.
thought he'd be eligible for some type of government subsidy because he lost a business. Will they like help him, reopen a new one or something like that?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I think I think to a certain extent, a lot of businesses received some kind of financial aid over the last however many months, but I don't know what the requirements are for that. But I'm sure they spent a lot of if they spent the money on the $2,000 a month, that additional living when you're out of work for the people, they must have done something for the companies as well too.
Well, they would have programs, but it doesn't ever pay all of your costs and
No,
expenses.
no. But the one nice thing that it did is it really put the focus on things like AISH, because AISH was not collecting anywhere near 2,000. So maybe that should be updated, because what AISH pays is ridiculous. Honestly,
Mhm.
ridiculous. And for a person who's genuinely on AISH, when you don't have a choice, you're getting fornicated by the government.
That's a good way
one
of
way to
putting
put
it.
it.
That's a polite way to do it without using the other F word. Yes.
Rude.
It's hard to believe that
Yeah.
it's almost been 2 years of this party, and you guys seen
Yes.
it through like what, from level 3 or 5 to basically 15 now.
Did we not start at 1?
I think we started at 1, and you
with
rapidly
Death
brought us
House,
up.
it's 1 to 15.
Yeah,
you did.
because I only came in at level 3. You guys played like 2 sessions ahead of me, 3 or 4 sessions
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. Kevin was quick with level 1, level 2. I mean, it moved fast.
Well, you have to move
Yes,
up
you
with
do.
those early levels because you can't do anything,
It's
and
true.
you're like
Yeah.
little glass houses.
Now I
And
know how
that would bring
Pilot
another
feels,
point.
Kevin. I think you might have to bump up Pilot. I think he's gonna get a little angsty in another level or 2.
He's getting a level up here too, so don't worry. They're still just kids though,
Good.
but they have their uses.
I know. It's not fair.
But in terms of
Go on, Ken.
in terms of a suggestion, the idea that we can play up to as high a level as possible, up to 20, because I mean we play so many campaigns, one shots and whatever else, where you're level 6 or you're level 7 or whatever, right? But to be bringing it up to the higher, because there's a lot of fun stuff that can happen at the higher levels, right? Example, I'll pick on Tana just because I know her best, and with Tana, she now has the tongue of sun and moon. She can communicate. She's got the diamond soul, which makes it better for saving throw benefits. And when she gets to level 17, she's the only character that would be able to do an in-battle resurrection.
Cool.
Okay. So, I mean, priests and stuff, they can do they have to do the whole ritual stuff. But in the course of a battle, okay, stop, guys, stop, guys. We need a timeout. Be nice to us. We need a timeout. Don't hurt us. We're just doing this little ritual. so,
Right.
so the monk being able to just spend 5 key points and resurrect someone and get him back in the battle, that's
Are you saying I need to be able to cast a sphere of invulnerability or something like that?
I think it makes it interesting for the DM as well. They can make things a little bit tougher,
I don't have that, but
It's
right?
true.
Tougher.
I think there's a good balance, or actually, it depends on you guys. I know you're at a point where it's you're essentially invincible to the common threats of the world, um, and some people
not
who've been
really.
played for
Okay, we never feel invincible.
well, maybe that's good, maybe that's not. But in earlier editions of D&D, you would there were, I would say, wasn't as easy as opposed to resurrect or bring back a character. Um,
No, no, definitely not. That was something that evolved with the game.
exactly. So the way 5e is now is that you can. It's really written in such a way that the advantage is on the player surviving. Um, and depending on you guys, because there's, if you guys want to try a harder version of D&D, that's possible too. There's been some talk about, are we invincible or are we too overpowered for the regular? And I think it's a general, what's the word, a natural progression sometimes of the fact that you guys have leveled up to 15. And do you guys still want to feel like you're in danger from regular day-to-day activities? Because goblins are going to be nothing. Orc raids are going to be nothing to you. I know Robert had a system where, like, if you would face his orcs would have been powered up to your level. Because I remember
that.
running one where it was goblins, right? And Erkin's like, I'm surprised they went down so fast. I'm like, yeah, well, they're goblins. Turns out Robert had bumped the goblin stats so that they would be equal to, the party's level.
Well, again, to make things interesting once in a while, why not? These are goblins on steroids or something, right? You come up with some kind of storyline where something's happened. They're not your grandfather's goblins, and yeah.
My
That's why I
question.
find it so funny. It's like in Kevin's game, it's like, should we do something really bad to them? No, they're just goblins. It's Kevin's games, not yours.
Just like saying that we're invincible to me reminds me of Critical Role, where I can't remember her name. Marisha Ray in the first campaign, famous last words, because she said, "We're practically invincible," turns into a fly, dive bombs in the water, and dies
Crazy.
because they're
Yeah.
level 15, I think. So I'm like, okay, never say
Famous
you're
last words.
invincible. 'Cause you
Okay,
just
good.
do
So-
dive
No,
bombs.
I think
Yeah.
we staged that one. I mean, not everything's improv.
Oh,
I think it is. Everybody thinks it
Yeah.
isn't, but these guys are really good at what they do.
The other thing too is when you're at that level, does it really have to be about fighting something scary? At that level, when you're at that level and you're not quite a god, but you're up there, maybe what you're involved in isn't so much a physical fight, but bringing some kind of socioeconomic change, and you need to get people to buy into it. So maybe you've got a dictatorship of sorts, some kind of monarchy thing that a mean monarch, and you want to change it to a republic, right? Where people have more freedoms and choices and stuff. Well,
Well, I think you end up being your own enemy. You have to like be careful of your own sheer stupidity.
oh, for sure. But my point, what I'm trying. Oh, we lost Ruben for a moment, I think.
Yeah.
But it's more challenging to overdo, not to overthrow it. You don't necessarily want to overthrow the regime. I think you would want to bring about minimizing death and whatnot, bring about positive change. That's the challenge. So instead of killing everybody, and okay, it's a republic because we killed everybody, and it's just us. But the other way to do it, okay, we want people to live. So how do you get them to buy into changing the status quo, right? And I use the example of a form of government, but it could be something else.
It could be simply, maybe maybe it is a kind of a republic, but there's still some kind of serfdom going on where a certain demographic or group of people don't have the economic and social freedoms that they should have, and then how do you get the powers that be to listen to you? I mean, yeah, you can show off a little bit. Okay, you do this or else. But as soon as you go back to
Kind of like
Bavaria,
Strahd, though.
in a way, in a way, but you want it long lasting because you don't want it. Hey, we're going back to Barovia, and then you find out, oh, the dictator took over again, and whatever, right? To bring about. So I mean. I'm just trying to say, when you get to those high levels, it might not necessarily be all about just killing the big bad monster.
That's good, yeah, because if you were to just kill a monarch with your godly power, social um, repercussions are there for you. That being said, some would say that I am quite lenient in it when it comes to you guys facing death.
Oh yeah, I would say that. In fact, we'll go back about 2 sessions or so, and I'll say that for sure.
Oh, lenient in not killing us.
Yes.
Not only lenient, almost a savior.
And that depends.
I
on
loved
whether...
it though, because I.
Yes.
I wanted to die.
And that being said, while you don't, I'm sure you guys don't want to see your characters die in any way.
No, I don't want to see. Well, for after what Ken said, speaking of, you're gonna ruin my livelihood, man. That's the way we live. What's my land without a serf? Harder. I don't want to pay for labor.
No, but at the same time, as much as I really enjoy these high levels because I get to experience a higher level character and what powers are available, because you don't get to play those kinds of levels and abilities very often. I'm always thinking, okay, next campaign, what do I want to be? Because eventually I know this is going to end.
It's like you're at a point where I'm at level 17. Pretty soon I'll reach 20, and then all of a sudden the group dissolves and you never get to see it. Right?
We're not 17, are we?
You're 15.
We're not near 17 yet. No, we're 14 turning 15 at some point.
No, I'm just
right.
Like from my experience playing the module, the Gauntlet, it's we never got to finish that. I never got to raise my Cavalier to that level. Right? So I understand what Sophie's talking about.
Yeah, I am committed, of course, to seeing you guys at least to 17, because that's when you get your 9th level spells. After that, 18 to 20 is icing.
Not when you multi-class.
Yeah, sure, why not? But I'll ask this of Robert,
right?
and
it doesn't matter, but it's enjoyable for now.
Okay, I'll ask this of Robert and Anastasia, especially for the next session, if you are okay with my level of leniency in regards to this. For those who've played earlier, tougher versions, it might almost seem kind of cheap. In which case,
it's a game.
Yeah, it is a game. So, in terms of people, what they hope to get out of a game, because some people really love to be punished, and that's why people play Dark Souls or any of those other video games that are just absolutely punishing. Games that are hard, because
I find when they're too hard, I go cheat online.
Yeah.
You can't cheat on the PlayStation. You could, but that takes effort physically and monetarily wise. It's like Dark Souls. I played it on the PlayStation. There's no way you could, but take effort, like I said, to try to cheat it.
That being said, I'm just getting an idea on what the level of difficulty you guys enjoy, because you guys came close to death for that last one, and if that was okay with you without feeling like you were absolutely overwhelmed, that's okay. You still had a chance, right?
Yes. Yeah, you definitely gave us an out. Very thin out, but it worked.
I think it was just the one advantage roll that I gave Erkin, the one inspiration. But that being said, going ahead, if that is okay with you, I can continue being slightly lenient. Just a little help for things that, for like items you might have had in your bag that helps you out, or to let you play where it lies. You know, like golf. If you don't remember your potions, you don't remember your scrolls. It's on you.
Yeah, well, to some
Well-
degree, because you can't remember everything too, right? So
No,
Yeah,
but
we'll
you
go
should
with
know,
the-
you should get to learn when you're developing your character. You're developing a personality for the character, but you do have to get to learn to know your capabilities of your character, and if that involves spells or other special skills, you got to start to learn what those are. Um, Part of the reason why I kept in 2 campaigns the same sort of character, it just made it easier,
Mm.
right? So, because yeah, if I played 2 radically different, a sorcerer and a monk, like totally, you know, that would probably be very difficult for me to remember everything for both. Um, my next character will be different. I'm going to play a totally different character. Kevin knows about that already,
Mm-hmm.
and
Cool.
I can say that Hannah was kind of like my child. So no, I didn't want her to die, and I don't want her to die. But for future campaigns, the next characters, I don't want them to die. But for this next character that I'm going to be creating, if it happens, okay, it's also 5e. Maybe you'll get resurrected at some point. Who knows? Whatever. But I'm going with my next character. I'm going to be less protective of my child, as it were,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
No problem.
And it's easier to let go of a character if it dies in the early levels, but when you've taken them that far, like you really don't want them to miss out and have to start at a low level when everybody else is level
Or
15
introduce,
and
or you would just introduce somebody
gained a
else,
new
right?
character.
Still at that
Right.
level, but you know, you come up with something in the storyline like Britt says, "Hey, I know a guy," and then it's my character, my new character, you know, and he can solve this problem, and then we introduce and whatever. Like there's ways to make things happen, right? And then
Right.
you're not having to. Everybody else is level 15, you're level 2. You know, yeah. So
Well, you wouldn't come in. You would be the same, but would you say it's a keeping you from wanting to die? You'd also lose all the bonds, I suppose, that your character had done. If that's
you're totally creating a new personality. That's true, and that's interesting because you're creating a new personality. You're forming friendships all over again, and yeah, that would be a challenge
okay.
a little bit.
Well, and all of the items you collect over time and all of the, I don't know. There's
Well, you know,
lots.
if it didn't end up in the ether, then I guess you know, Alistair and Briseis and everybody else would have whatever, right?
Sell it off. Um, yeah, you guys are okay with the level of difficulty so far, and me. I wouldn't say hand holding, but I do nudge you guys in a ways that do help you survive. Would you?
And thank you.
I'm perfectly fine with that.
I'm perfectly fine with that too.
All right,
Yeah,
Ruben.
we love our characters.
How about you, Ruben?
We don't. We're not on a death wish. We're not on a suicide mission.
Yeah, no.
All right. Cool. What about?
Well, I just want to say one thing is like for me, let's say where I'm at a point like I'm okay with my character dying as long as it's like a legitimate death, right? It's like, you know, if I try to help Tana, I get shot by an arrow with my last hit point,
Yep.
and all death saves fail. I would accept
Is
that.
here. The food is here. The food is here.
Nice.
I'll be right back.
Oh, your food's here. Yeah. So, you know, Alistair would like already wrote his will, left it for Pilot to be his executor and all that.
Oh
so,
my gosh.
yeah,
Ruben, you think of so many things.
I'm you know, because the sometimes along the way it's like, you know, you think of your character while you're drawing or whatever. It's like, ooh, I should do this just in case it happens,
Mhm.
right? And it's like, well, you know, it's like if I tripped on a rock, hit my head, and lose like 128 hit points, yeah, that would be pretty lousy. I wouldn't want to do that way, right? But yeah, eventually it's like, sometimes there's meaning in death than there is, in fighting.
I'm impressed.
Mm-hmm. I know earlier that you're a bit of more hardcore gamer, but so I don't think you would have much reservation if I pumped up difficulty in like say resurrection spells were harder to cast. But I think generally the group enjoys coming around just to have fun and basically see reactions, to act in a way and be somebody else and see how the other characters react to it. There's a lot of things to balance in terms of D&D.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the other thing. It's like it's not to be like a pretentious power tripper or whatever. It's like, what would happen if Alistair did die and doesn't get resurrected? I mean, that's something as a group we haven't experienced, right? So, except for Pinchy,
Yeah,
we'll give it that. That's close to as much as we can get to that type of scene, right?
that's right. And the beauty about
Poor
D&D
Pinchy.
is that it can be a lot of games. The engine allows it to be a tactical game where you spend hours deciding on whether or not which square to move in, how you can affect the terrain, what spells to use, and all that stuff. And people really love that. It can be completely devoid of that and take away the initiative, and it's all role play. Whereupon it's just people acting out their characters for mainly the majority of the session. If it's not that, people mainly enjoy building the game based on exploration of just finding new and fantastical places. And I think what I found through DMing and joining other games is it's hard to filter out what kind of game that DM is running unless it's like on a poster or something of the sort. You play you join a volleyball team, and then later you find out they're really competitive. You're going there to practice for 3 times a week. I just wanted to go there once a week, play a game, drink a beer afterwards, that type of thing. So,
dude, your serve sucks. Get out of the fucking
exactly
group.
that type, and that's
Yeah.
D&D in a nutshell, because it can come in so many different flavors, and it can emphasize so many different parts.
Personally, I like butterscotch.
Nice.
You said flavors, right?
Yeah, D&D comes in many flavors, and I don't know how much.
Yeah, butterscotch is my favorite.
Yeah, because I don't know how much
I
you
like Dutch chocolate.
missed there. Is reconciling, I suppose, everyone's different flavors of D&D, what they come in here looking
Oh,
for.
that's true. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, they all come for different things. They definitely come for different things, and there's different things that people want to do, and to find that happy medium, that can be a bit of a challenge, but you always seem to find a way to make it work.
Yeah, and I think it's good, like when we get everyone together and everyone tells you what they are looking for in the D&D game. So Robert and Anastasia, who are missing out, you get a sense of, I know you guys are actually quite cooperative. We're like, hey, looks like a puzzle that Sophie might like, so you let her go for it. This looks like a role play session between Tana and Alistair, and they seem to be enjoying it. So you guys are really good at that. Or Erkin wants to do something else. She wants to make a mess of the masquerade ball, and you guys are generally on board.
Yes.
Well, I think you got to let everybody explore what they like. Is if you have a group of all like-minded people, then it gets
Yes, it
boring.
does.
So allowing that variety is what keeps it entertaining.
It's neat
just
because there can
going
be
with it.
a lot of different philosophies on D&D, which I'm making an attempt to write a paper on because of the it essentially works as a game engine, and I've been terrible at writing papers lately because university started and I hate this APA style. But anyways, this versatile game engine lets it be so many things, and so people come in looking for so many things. But interestingly enough, they might not get.
If I play Zelda, I want to discover the scenery and I want to fix the puzzles. And then there's a big fight with the big boss. I hand over the remotes to Cedric and he kills the big boss. And then I go and explore and do trades with the merchants, you know.
It
so
does.
it takes all sorts to finish a game.
Definitely does.
Yeah. That being said, yeah, now I've started to play some games. It's story mode, where it's just basically easy, so you can get more of the story easier. But a lot of people really don't like it. They like to play in hardcore, or even veteran mode, nightmare mode, of some sort.
I like story modes.
Yeah, story mode is really good, and getting those.
I really like it.
And I'm glad people here agree on the level of difficulty, because you can get story mode people here in this group and also nightmare mode people in this group, which hasn't happened. You guys are generally on par for what you want.
It's okay. I can hide under a table when hardcore people want to fight hard.
That's the beauty of it, right?
I can get Globe of Invulnerability. It's a 6th level spell. See what that does. Maybe I want to take it. I actually fought our last battle without a 6th level slot because I didn't realize I hadn't picked it.
Oh.
And when I was looking at the leveling up, when we get to level 15, I'm like, I had not picked a 6th level spell. That whole multi-classing makes it confusing. So yeah, I'm gonna totally remedy that. So I totally did not have a 6th level, and I could have had a 6th, and now we're getting a 7th. So whoop, I'm getting a 7th. I think some people are getting an 8th,
That's
but
all right.
not me.
Congratulations!
So, yeah.
You guys are.
I'm excited.
All right, because you're multi-class, you won't probably get your 9th level spell until 19, hey?
I don't think ever. Let's see.
As long as you're a sorcerer,
I have my book in front of me.
as long as you're a sorcerer 17, you'll get it. So you'll have to be at least 19. But that being said,
it's like you don't get it, you know.
Oh yeah, you do. 17, you're right. Because you get the spell slot. Spell slot for spell level. Yeah. 17 is where I need to be, but I'm only 13 sorcerer.
Okay. Yeah, you gotta be at least level 19.
So
yeah, level character 19 and sorcerer 17.
Yeah.
Have you? Oh yeah, question. Have you guys played an entire campaign to its end before?
No, yeah.
First campaign ever.
Okay.
Be a first.
So, do you guys have any expectations on what kind of ending? Whether or not you have input on that, because you can get your twist endings, you get your Sixth Sense, your happy Toy Story endings.
Story was a sad ending.
Well, I mean, depending on which Toy Story we're talking about.
Okay.
Like your bittersweet, I suppose.
I think I'll leave that up to you. Like for me, it depends on how everything plays out till the end.
Yeah.
Right. Like I said, maybe it's the last battle that Alistair dies or whatever, right? Or you never know along the way. So it might, hey, I don't like this group anymore. I'm taking off. So it all depends what happens in the end, right? Or towards the end, before you reach that climax. That's my opinion.
I don't want to die. I like Brice is to be able to go back to her husband and start a family. She's young enough. See her being very traditional.
Campaign could have a happy ending.
Yeah.
For those who want.
Yeah, for those.
Maybe Ravens.
Yeah, and as long as I think you guys are at least in somewhat control of your ending, that should be okay. But
But if she dies, she dies.
Yeah.
You know.
See?
I'm sure with the amount of time that you guys spent as your characters and what you've done, I see the natural progression. Whenever you play a game, first it's like you play an RPG. You're just going out on a fishing trip, and then you got to save the world from the time devourer, because that always happens. I
From a fishing trip.
Yeah, you know how it is. You're collecting fucking sticks for the Deku tree or something, and then you're in charge. Yeah, you gotta you gotta change time to save the world from Ganon. That I think it's a natural progression that eventually you guys are looking for. What you're going to do at the climax will be world shaking, or at least have a noticeable effect on the reality that you guys are living in. Because I think that's what adds a lot of weight to a campaign, is like the stakes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm getting distracted by all those spells that I could choose from. It's very, very, it's very hard to pick only one. I want them all.
Okay, that's true. And eventually, maybe you can, because I have a book called Legendary Adventures. It takes you from level 20 to 30.
Wow.
Yep.
Oh, now that's being gods.
Essentially.
Legendary.
But then the monsters are like 5,000 points.
No, then we're gonna have to fight gods.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this
Yeah.
book, you have Jormungandr, the World Serpent. You have Fenrir. You have the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. What'd you just
We
get?
were talking about the Deku tree earlier.
That's
That's a Korok.
that's adorable.
Nice. Very cool. That's very,
Better
very
with
cool.
lights on, but anyway. I made it for
Very
Cedric,
nice.
and we hide it in our house, and then you can say, "Hee,
Nice.
I found you."
Very cool.
That's kind of funny.
There you go. Thank you, Cedric. You talked about the Deku tree, so I had to bring it up.
That's all. Yeah, excellent.
Big kid.
I think we're all kind of big kids. We as for how it's gone now, I'm proud of this group. This has been 2 years in the making. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should get like an accolade now for sticking with the group for 2 years.
I think you guys should get a banner, at least some sort of plaque or something. That would have been nice to have.
From where?
Whatever makes plaques, whatever, where schools
Okay.
they make those cheap trophies for track and field events. But it would have been cool, like if we still had tabletop where you can see, plaques of parties that have finished major campaigns or something. Would have been,
Ooh.
That'd be
it
cool.
would be neat as hell, but we deserve our own, or at least like t-shirts.
If we could find someone who could commission it, it would be interesting to have a kind of a poster of all our characters.
Mm-hmm.
A group shot, if you will.
Ah, yeah,
Character.
that's right.
Drawn.
Like the Mighty Nine.
Yeah, exactly. I thought there's 7 in them.
I like that.
There are 7, but they're called the Mighty Nine. There's 9 at the end. Sorry to
Oh, yeah.
ruin that
Okay.
for
That's right.
everyone.
That's pretty funny. But yeah, I will say you guys are heading up close to the end as you finish this previous major arc, and found out that Riatavin is in great danger. And from there on, we'll see what happens. Though I will admit, sometimes this being my first homebrew campaign, even if it is in a campaign setting, my writing in a lot of ways has been janky, and sometimes very good, sometimes not so good. So it's something I've been working on. So many thanks for your patience on it.
We're not perfect
Many
players.
thanks
We
for all
don't
your
expect
efforts.
a perfect DM.
You absolutely bet. You're awesome, Kevin.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll be your guinea pig anytime.
Yeah, thanks. And that's exactly what you guys
That's
have been
right.
as I threw you into with a persistent world with another group. That was my pet project, so thank you for going along with that. And yeah, this is
So Ken,
so go on,
Ken,
go on.
sorry, Ken, your ritual that you'd need more than a minute, right?
What? Sorry.
To revive someone.
It should
You'd
be,
need
from
more
what I
than a
read, I'm
minute?
gonna have to look it up again, but it costs 5 key points, and I don't think it takes a full. I'm gonna have to check it out now. Now you got me wondering. Hang on, I'm gonna look it up.
So you don't have to find it now, but message me later because it might depend on what spell I take in order to support you. Is that okay? Is that too much
Well, again,
metagaming?
that doesn't come until level 17. That's a couple of levels away. But
Oh,
having said that, let's go.
because I'm debating between Globe of Invulnerability and True Seeing.
Ah,
True
Globe of
seeing.
Invulnerability would allow maybe for someone to cast a ritual, and True Seeing is just completely different. Or Arcane Gates, that's also fun.
Arcane Gate.
there's a new Strixhaven book coming out in the fall.
A what book?
Strixhaven, a curriculum of
Oh,
chaos.
Ooh.
Isn't that
I saw the
like
ad.
Explore Strixhaven in the latest Magic the Gathering campaign set for Dungeons and Dragons. So it's for Magic users, I'm going to imagine.
Sounds like it.
I've never played, my nephew plays Magic the Gathering, but I know nothing of it.
I played it on PlayStation once. That's about it.
I've done Magic the Gathering Arena, and it's decent. It's a lot of number crunch. It's people really love the deck building aspect, the meta game, which is honestly kind of really cool.
It's cool, but isn't it then a more expensive game for that reason?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Now it's been popular for 10 years. Yeah, they're like collector's items. Some cards. Frankly, I
you're-
like looking at the artwork sometimes at those cards, and that's about it.
Like I know my nephew spent a ton of money buying cards and cards and cards to create the perfect deck. And it's like, well, that's a money grab.
Mm-hmm. And you know,
Ah, we buy dice.
yeah. But the thing is, the dice is they go to sometimes they're different businesses though. The cards go to one company.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But you know that's how they make their money. It's you know, it's not that bad, but you know that's the way it is, I guess.
Yeah, that's those type of games.
Everybody's got to make money
Yeah,
somehow.
when it's collectible card games, so. Oh, yes. Did you guys, as far as the last battle with Cordan, it was 6 full hours. Were you guys okay with that? Did you feel like that for 6 hours you were still able to enjoy it, or do you guys like a hard limit on, or felt it was justified to fight for 6 hours?
Well, he was supposed to.
I was fine with it. I find like if you've got a big
Yeah.
boss, like and that definitely I think classified as one of those big ones. We could have gone faster, but it depends how much storytelling there is or what happens in between each move. So I think it was fair.
Awesome. Well, good. What about you, Ken and Ruben? Or actually, Ruben, we've already talked. It was
Yeah, I was afraid of the stats but for me, for me, it's underwhelming. I had higher expectations story wise,
Okay.
not gameplay wise.
Do you
Right?
So are you in terms of D&D you're not I know you did mention that maybe there should be harsher repercussions for dying. That's a gameplay change as well. Um, but you don't play D&D for being a tactical kind of player, do you? For
It's it's just sometimes like s- so you can like your character too much, and then the next character you build in another campaign would be the same bloody character, right? So sometimes, for me, sometimes dying is kind of refreshing,
mm,
right? You don't say, you don't typecast yourself all the time. Nothing wrong with Ken's way of doing it. Like for me, it's sometimes it's hard to separate from character from player if you don't have that, sense of, like the looming sense of loss, right? It just makes that character, much more valuable. But then in the end, all things come to an end.
mm-hmm. I can see where you're from. I I like that you do, in a way, take the storytelling the storytelling quite serious in D&D, which is what a lot of people join it for. There's been games. Oh, sorry. Go on.
I get that. I just find like in a big boss battle where every move is 6 seconds or every turn is 6 seconds, you can't expect a ton of storytelling to happen. It's just a big fight and you have to
Yeah.
fight to the end and then story
Yeah, there's
happens. That's how I
in your
see it.
6 seconds, you only have a few words you can say. There's only a few things you can do.
And
For
if
me, it
there's more
wasn't.
hit points, it just takes longer.
Yeah.
For me, it wasn't the storytelling. It was like the appearance of the story, right? I didn't expect Kevin to like give a lore dump every 6 seconds. It's just the feeling of the mood of the environment is what I'm saying,
Okay.
Yeah. Ruben had
right?
different expectations on what the mosquito would be like, which it wasn't. And I think that's fair. I think both our interpretations of why the mosquito turned out that way is valid. And
That was just me, it's like you guys' opinion matter too, right? It's just my point of view for what I was playing, right? I was like, great, now I'm phoning it in. What do I do with this?
yeah.
That was just me.
And
But that was your backstory, Ruben. So you had expectations that
Yeah.
we didn't.
Yeah, exactly. That's
So
what I'm
it's,
saying. It's like
it makes sense.
I like in a way I went all Josh Whedon on Kevin. It's like, what are you doing, man? What is it? No, it wasn't that way, but it was kind of like the conversation, right?
mm-hmm. I bring this question up because I play with another party where the combat is long, and for that game, I'm actually super bored. And for the longest time, I'm like, is long combat not justified? And it was honestly, I would say, the way he ran it, that DM ran it. So for a long time, I had been moving combat to almost like cutting it off when I felt it was too long. And I'll give you an example. We fought maybe 12 or 13 giants, and he rolled initiative for each one, and each giant had its own turn. Whereas I've done parts where I move the ball as a single group, and they move as a group, and then it's the player's turn again. So from that experience, I had almost traumatically moved away from long combat.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you're waiting a long time for your turn, and it's when something's anything that's too long, you can always have too much of a good thing, whatever that good thing is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I had
Well, I think there's a fine line between how many monsters and how many hit points they have. Because if there's too many of them and they each have a turn in the rotation, then yeah, the kind of the flavor gets lost. Then replace 3 of them with a bigger one, and then it makes it, I don't know, more fun. I don't know. I'm saying that I have no idea, but just there's way to modify
there would
it,
be.
right?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The
Okay,
main-
now for Briseis.
Or Briseis, Hand of Ultimate Mercy at level 17 for Tana or any other Way of Mercy monk. Your mastery of life energy opens the door to ultimate mercy. As an action, you can touch the corpse of a creature that died within the past 24 hours and expend 5 key points. The creature then returns to life, regaining a number of hit points equal to 4d10 plus the monk's wisdom modifier. If the creature died while subject to any of the following conditions, it revives with them removed: blinded, deafened, paralyzed, poisoned, or stunned. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again till you finish a long rest. So it is pretty much instantaneous
It's an action. That's
in
it.
action.
That's
Okay.
pretty good. That's at level 17.
Cool.
In regards to what I last said, because I had timed when my turn ended, and it took 1 hour for it to get back to me for my turn, and
That's a long time.
that is
No,
a
that's
Oh,
long.
that's too long.
You could have just left, have a drink, watch Friends, and then come back.
Yeah, and that's
See,
where
and so I think it's not the length of the battle, but how often your turn
Yep.
comes back.
Because you want to keep things moving.
exactly.
So your modifications that you came up with to keep things moving made sense.
Hmm.
Good. I'm glad it turned out that way, because I would say almost a phobia of running long combat, and would make, in a sense, a lot of battles too easy, because if you didn't kill anything in a set amount of time, I would start to get flashbacks of like, this is probably too boring. And it was honestly the worst. Every creature had its own turn, its own move, its own initiative. He would roll individually for each attack. Some of them had multiple attacks. So you would just kind of sit there.
Yeah.
And then I came to associate long combat battles with boringness. But I
Boredom,
think
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's changed a little bit now since you guys felt that was okay, and I talked it over with another group. It's like, as if it makes story wise and your turn comes up fast enough, it doesn't feel like it's slow.
No, exactly. I think if a person has to wait more than 20 minutes for their turn, that's excessive.
Mm-hmm.
And even that, I'm not suggesting 20 minutes as a rule. Not at all. I'm just saying, in my mind, beyond that, then it's getting towards your hour and everything. And no,
Yeah.
right? But ideally, every few minutes you should, move along.
Yeah, it makes
As
sense.
long as it's moving along and not taking 20 minutes per turn, then
Yeah, even I would say if even the 5 of you took 2 minutes per turn, everyone gets that's a 10-minute round. Like 10 minutes goes by and then it comes back to your turn. But me and the
That's
other
right.
folks were
Yeah,
waiting 1
right.
hour for our turn.
Yeah,
That's ridiculous,
yeah.
Kevin.
As long as everybody get their digs in, I think that's the way it should be played. Like from what you described now, because I know we discussed this way before about the goblin cleric, and I was like, Kevin, did you sort of like dumb down the cleric a bit?
I would say he had a bit more, but then I ended it because it was getting close to the end there. But that's because, like I said, I also had a phobia of running long battles because of that experience, which was honestly where I got it from.
So you developed a complex.
Yeah, it's getting better
for
now.
battles now. All right.
And
Well, I think you expect longer battles when you have you reach specific milestones. If every battle was 3 hours long, you'd be like, okay, not every
exactly. So
time.
it's like, hey, we didn't
But
get Tempest Aquapotion.
if you know it's an important one with like lair action and legendary actions, then yeah,
Exactly.
you expect those
If
to
it's a
last
main
longer for
character
sure.
that the whole campaign was about defeating, then it makes sense.
mm-hmm. No, that's good input.
But you don't want 20 of those.
No, and that can be exhausting as well. On the topic of puzzles, let's say
Of what?
on the topic of puzzles, do you guys, if it's a puzzle you guys generally can't solve, Do you guys want me to tell you, like, after a period of introspection, it doesn't look like you're going to get this, or do you guys just kind of want to keep hammering at it until, or I give you, like, I cut you guys off. Like, you guys have spent about 20 minutes. It doesn't look like you're gonna get it.
Well, that's up to you. It's like, you could tip us off. Like, do you really want us to get whatever's behind the puzzle? Or do you really want us to work for it, or do you really want us to have it? So that call is really on you and how you give tips or tip us off on the puzzles.
Okay.
There's that. There's also, if the puzzle is not something that needs to be solved here and now, if, the puzzle can be solved now, it can be solved tomorrow, whatever, right? The other way out, if we're struggling, Perseus, make a history check. And she rolls, and let's say she passes her history check, right? Okay. So, and you come up with some piece of history or whatever that would be connected to the puzzle, and from that hey, so-and-so at this library was a specialist in that. So let's go visit him, and then you have an NPC character that would then, right, if it's not something that needs to be solved now.
Okay.
Right?
Like with the singing stones, because I think I was getting hung up on that, and then you said, like, not everything's going to be solved in one session. This is for the long haul. And then I was fine with that. And we're like, okay, we're not going to solve this right away, so let's move on. And I think you've been good at guiding us. Because I also find if I'm playing a video game that has a lot of puzzles and there's one puzzle that's crucial to continuing the story and I can't solve it,
Exactly.
that's how you don't finish a game. You just drop it, right? So I think there's got to be a way to, if it's crucial and we can't come up with it, I'd want to find out, or at least in-game have a way to figure out the answer.
Okay. Fair enough.
Our own people don't know, because it's a lot of pressure otherwise.
Yeah.
I like them, but I don't want to be the only one who enjoys them. Otherwise, let's drop the whole idea.
The game time too, right? So
Fair enough.
yeah,
it's the same thing like the battle.
Yeah, exactly. So if you think it's crucial for the story, but hey, these guys are taking too long, I'll just throw them a bone. Yeah, I guess we're fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what Ken's example was.
Yeah, there's different ways to throw a bone, right?
Yeah.
You can throw the bone where you can solve the problem right now, or you can throw the bone where, hey, that's right, so-and-so. Let's go visit so-and-so. And you make a side adventure to do that. And okay, now you've got the answer to go back and solve the puzzle.
Mm-hmm. I would.
So that's
I would say
it's your call.
I would say when it's plot dependent, I will have you guys fail upwards or fail forwards. In that you're always, it's because we call those choke points. Like if you don't solve it, the game never ends. But let's say, for instance, you guys wanted to really hammer on that box that just wouldn't open, and give you guys a time limit before. Okay, we're gonna move this along. You guys carry it with you. If that's a good system. There also might be a system where you're on a random encounter and you see like a statue, which of course has a riddle. You don't have to solve it, but somebody might really want to get what's inside, even though it's not plot important. Do you guys feel it's better to have a time limit and those type of things?
Well, once again, to get things moving, everybody should be having fun. If you start to notice more than one person's nodding off, falling asleep, or whatever, or rolling their eyes, or whatever, you can see the frustration or whatever, then yeah, I would think that would be your cue to come up with a plan B.
Yeah. You know what? That's a good call. I'll start to move it along. Like you come across a riddle, like if a statue and all it says is what dries or what gets wet as it dries. And then you guys are mulling over it for like 20 minutes and doesn't look like you guys are getting.
Yeah, let's not do 20 minutes on that.
Yeah. Like a simple riddle, what dries as it or what gets wet as it dries. So that type of thing. Push you guys along.
Ray. No.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe intelligence check will solve it for you, but there was a particular moment where...
Oh, did you freeze up, Kevin?
Did I?
Yeah, he's kind of stuck.
He looks stuck.
Okay.
Yeah, he definitely looks stuck.
Am I alive now?
He's deep in thought. Deep in thought. There we go.
Now,
Okay,
you
am I
got
back?
cut
I
off.
love those frozen moments when you've got the weird like
Yes, yes, exactly.
mid
Yeah,
sentence.
your mouth is wide open. And
I know, that's a joke.
At the time it happens.
Oh, and then you get the fast.
Yeah, this
Did
is
you
even
guys
better
see
though. I
that?
like this one better than
Heat
the last
up.
one. Yeah, there. That's the winner. That's the winner.
Screenshot.
Okay, my jaw hurts.
That's the winner.
We had a moment in another game where it looks like something's missing from your bag. Okay, well, and then I had to have been more like an hour or something on this particular, like we threw powder everywhere. We started setting up traps. Nope, you don't see anything. We started scrying on whatever it is. We locate object, don't see anything. At this point, maybe I would have preferred the DMs like, you've tried everything and you're not going to get it. Even if we didn't. I guess it's almost kind of disappointing, but it's nice to have that type of finality. Because, boy, we were frustrated.
Just move on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really should have recorded that moment for you. We were getting all hung up.
But you know, instead of making it frustrating, blame it on the die. Make it a roll die, like a dice roll.
We
And
did.
if we fail, we don't know.
Yeah. We very much
So-
didn't know. We were hamming at it, I suppose, despite the die rolls. Could have been a creature. Maybe something was in our bag eating it. We started turning everything inside out. We put powder looking for if it stick to something invisible. And through all of that, we're like, you see nothing, you don't know what it is. And I think that was probably one of the most frustrating games I had been in. I don't really know what would have made it better, honestly. Because I think we would have continued on with that one puzzle until we were told to stop.
Interesting. Well, if the interest was there, I suppose if the interest was there, right?
Yeah. It's hard to describe
That
the
would be one
feeling.
heck of a puzzle.
It's quite a puzzle, but it is also, I think, one of the more. I try to avoid this, where you get the feeling that the DM is withholding information to make things tough, more than is reasonable. I don't know if you ever.
Yeah, we don't need that.
Yeah.
That we don't need. You know, yeah, that would be more. That would be too challenging. For that, then I would want to have Cedric and
Jane?
there was another guy from one of the other groups that I was in. He was a very intelligent guy, kind of like Cedric. Then you want to have those guys there because they'll figure it out.
There was also one door opening puzzle where it was like a chessboard and you would have to checkmate the king in under a move or something. And we couldn't move on forward until we figured that out. And that was rough. That was honestly quite rough.
It was like you had to know chess to figure it out.
Pretty much.
Wizard's chess.
Exactly. Harry Potter's
Harry
Wizard's
Potter
chess.
style.
And
That's easy. Queen's to knight, bishop 4, and then boom, there goes the king.
Sure, but then you could say things like this and this. The DM could decide, sure, that did it.
Yeah, you could always bluff. Yeah, that's the answer.
Yeah.
Next.
you know, I roll to figure it out. At which point, depending on your DM.
Yeah, but nobody wants to get stuck too long on something because then the story is not
Exactly.
moving.
Yeah, like the whatchamacallit, when we were at that puzzle there where you needed 3 keys, and I was like, oh, maybe it's for somewhere else. I don't want to spend too much time on it. Let's move on. We can go back to it until I figure it out. Right? So it's things like that.
Yeah. As long as I give you guys the hint that they can't be found here, yeah?
And that was appreciated. Otherwise, I think we'd still be stuck there. No, maybe not. But like, you're in huge, vast world. There are going to be things that you think are cues to your story and they're not at all. So I actually like that they're there. And if you tell us, like, well, giants, and then we kind of clued in, okay, that's not going to be
Exactly.
resolved
That's
right
why
away,
I chose
move
this. Like,
on.
yeah, I'm not gonna, rack my brains over this one just yet. And then it's like we got other things to look at, right? I'll
Okay.
just put a pin on it and we'll get back to it, right?
Yeah.
Things like that.
Sweet. Well, I'm glad you do enjoy the little things I pepper around the world. It's a big world.
It is a big world.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just on the right side of the continent. I mean, the left side of the continent. There's the middle and the right side we still haven't seen. The
Mm-hmm.
north side and then the south, right?
Yeah.
It's a big world.
I can't fill out the entire map, but
No.
Oh,
That,
gosh.
that,
I don't think we'd want to. That would be too much knowledge to carry with.
well,
I don't
it's
know.
like that legacy campaign. That guy had a campaign for 30 years. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure he's covered the whole thing already.
I think he's homebrew
Fair
too,
enough.
so it was all
Yeah.
done by him and his players.
30 years. That is something to be. Wow.
A lot of great information, great feedback from you guys. Next session, when we do start with Robert and Anastasia, I'll probably spend in a few minutes, maybe even 30 minutes or so, getting feedback from them as well. Because for the next campaign, looks, I feel like this was the last arc, or actually the next arc actually, can go the same way as the first one.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
It's getting that point now where I'm getting cut off all the time.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, you guys give me the type of stuff you really enjoy, what you look forward to in D&D, what you come here for, and the things that you really enjoy doing. Escapism, fantasy, roleplay, a lot of social, and
Yep.
really getting.
Especially in the time of COVID, this social has been.
It's a game.
Mhm. I enjoy being
I
a DM.
think,
Yeah.
again, as I said earlier, like, I think so long as we have fun and that people are allowed to be what they want to be and who they want to be, then that's what's cool about this
Yes.
game.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I really enjoy being
With
a DM
all
for
our
you guys.
imperfections.
Yeah, we're all just getting together to play a game, and I'm pretty much dicking around too most of the time, and you guys a lot of times write the story yourselves. But I for me would honestly say I almost prefer being a DM as opposed to a player. One, I get a little more control.
Oh, really?
Two, because I have my, not like I'm self-diagnosed or anything, but my girlfriend's like, you might have a twinge of ADHD, which is where you almost kind of need constant
We all do.
stimulation coming at you.
No, under psychological terms, you're a power tripper. You have a need of control of everything.
Perhaps, yeah. But I also really like the
No, I'm just.
and doing this for you guys. Like when you guys have fun, I have fun too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay, then let's reverse the cards. What would be your ideal player?
Interesting.
No.
Don't take this too seriously. Just throw stuff like we'll
what do
take
you
it
look
as
for
we're
in a
bad
player?
players, right?
What excites you as a player?
Cooperation.
Who are your favorite
I would,
types of
I
players?
would, yeah, I would say cooperation. So, players that work well with the rest of their party. Essentially, because yeah, that tickles my fancy. I like seeing players work together. I like to see as a DM when players leave and they're like, that was awesome, or like they they leave with memorable events. And when people talk about what they did in the campaign, like they, like how people tell me about their camping trip on Saturday or something of the sort. So the ideal player would be one that just works well with the rest of the group. And if everyone does that, you got a really good group and you're looking out for each other. So it doesn't matter for me if they're like really into tactical. If they're all tactical together and they really have a lot of fun buffing one another and type of stuff, I'm all for that too. If they're all role players and they really get into character and they really enjoy bouncing it off of each other, I enjoy that. Antagonist players, and this is exactly why I banned, stealing from each other, hurting one another. It's not part of my game, because I feel that in particular games that can breed a lot of resentment, which is not what I'm into.
Yeah, I can. No.
Well, I think it then transfers into out of game sometimes too.
It gets
so.
taken
Yeah.
personally.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, some people have to realize, like, you get your personal issues, you leave it off the gaming table, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you'd like what you hear me say the next day at the office, because the girls are like, "So you played yesterday? What happened?
Did you win?
Yeah, did you win
That's what I
D&D?
get.
Did you win?"
My player's still alive. If that's what you mean.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, we killed the
I'm like,
boss. We won.
almost died yesterday.
Wasn't that the Big Bang Theory thing? My friend told me that. I was like, did you win?
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, everybody wins at D&D if they're having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, nope, we're having fun. I hope we can keep going and start a new campaign when we're done with this one, because, again, hard to find a group of people that works, I think, and
Right.
enjoys the game.
You guys do
And I
work
wouldn't want to
together.
be DMing because that's a lot of
Oh, I
work.
wouldn't
So
be able
thank
to.
you,
I have
Kevin.
2 jobs. I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
I might, like...
Sometimes I think it'd be
offer it.
fun, and then I go, "Oh no, that's way too much work."
I might do it pretty soon one day. Like
Yeah.
one-shots.
Nice.
Yeah, that's different though.
Yeah,
A one-shot is
That's not
way
a full
different than a campaign.
campaign.
It's a
Yeah.
good way to start. But no, I wouldn't want to start a whole campaign unless I get a permanent group, right? I want to finish our thing first, so that's why I'll just give it the one-shot options.
It's a good way to dip your toes into D&D. I forgot. I was going to clarify this. I know that if you saw the in-game, that gigantic looming shadow, some of you were like, it's the demons coming to attack Riadavin. Earlier that session, Erkin had in fact scouted it, realized it was an Aarakocran fortress. So before you start launching an attack,
How do we launch
No.
an attack? We don't have any soldiers. Is it just us? Are we gonna get the options to have sprite soldiers now?
Well, once we become invincible and we're level 27, we can, yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Have an
You're
army.
godly at that point.
Snap our fingers and crash that tower down.
You could meteor storm or something of the sort. But yeah, that's I remember you guys like we were
Something like that.
there's some moments of was it the bank account, you guys are like there's just 10,000 grand waiting for you. I better tell you get this now, but you're gonna need your mother's maiden name, birth date, and the name of your first elementary school.
Okay, my mother's name is
I mean,
Lulu Bell.
I
She went to the Mary Gardner School.
so I know in some where it's like almost you can kind of just, it's a fantasy, right? And we find this clue or whatever, but realistically, I should tell you guys now, yeah, it's a bank. You're gonna need identification before you even get there, and give
We
you.
need to create. We have a few rogues. We can come up with a fake ID.
All we have to do is it has the number. We can know which vault box it's in if there's a vault box, like a lock box. So anything's possible.
Yeah, that was the best thing. Is like, hey, we got an account number and how many, we can just go up and withdraw it. This is banks work in real life.
Well,
I think I have seeming. I could disguise myself as this guy.
it's
Interesting.
Like the old days. Remember, Sophie, when we were kids, or in our time, we had the bank books. That's the way the bank.
Yeah, I
book
remember
worked.
those.
Yeah, that's
No
how
checking.
banking- Yeah, that's how banking was back then.
With the school banking.
Yeah, but we all had a bank book too, right? Before we had the card things, like
That's
even
right.
as adults,
Yep.
Yeah.
it was a bank book.
They
You
still
had the bank.
issue bank books for kids.
They still do that? Wow.
My kids had bank books and they gave them cards, I think, when they turned 14.
Yeah. So that's how the Templars kind of did it, but they also needed some type of password and all that. Some type of Freemason hand signal and handshake.
And at school, we would bring in $5 in our bank book, and then the teacher would collect it, take it to the bank, and then bring back our books. So there was no checking. We just deposited like $2 or $5 every week, put it in an envelope. It was
Oh, that's
done through the school. Yeah, we had like the bank was next door to our school, but they would collect envelopes with our bank books and the whatever money we wanted to deposit, and the teacher would collect it, and then the next day would come back to us empty, and they would
Was
have
the bank
deposited our money.
Populaire?
Yes, it was.
I knew it.
It's a good way to get kids to save money. That's for sure.
Well, and the interest rates back then were like 20%. So out of that $5, you made money.
Yep.
20%. Get out of here.
Yep.
That's
Early 80s.
Yeah, in the 80s.
Wow.
In the early 80s, buying a house was
Yes, it was.
crazy because mortgage rates were
Yes, they were.
ridiculously high. Yeah, but you made money. You could actually have a savings account that saved you money.
From an insurance standpoint, auto insurance, I'll give you an example. The insurance companies would write anybody for auto insurance. You got an impaired, you got a bunch of tickets, we'll sign you up, right? And just bring in the money. They put it in the bank because you're right. They got the double-digit interest rate, right? And even if it was what's called an underwriting loss, meaning they paid out more in claims when they took it in premium, didn't matter because the interest that the money was making for the premiums that people paid in, they still profited with an underwriting loss. They still made money.
I never heard that. That's fascinating. Cool. All about money.
All that money.
That's amazing.
See what you
Yeah.
learn from old people?
Yeah, old people have been around a long time.
Thanks, Ruben.
Uh, that's that's
All right, I need to go color my hair now.
that's
I'm just kidding over.
why I build any wealth I can in the stock market these days.
Yeah, not with interest from a savings account, that's
Not
for
right
sure.
now, no. But if you want to buy a house, time to do it.
I don't know. They've already gone up quite a bit. Did I tell you guys there's a house for sale on my street that you don't want to buy?
Like in
Okay.
your cul-de-sac area?
Not the cul-de-sac, but the main
Yeah, okay.
loop, kind of in front of the cul-de-sac. It was owned
Ouch.
by a hoarder, like TV show hoarder. Yeah. And he passed away, I think, about 5 years ago, and the house has been empty since. When the wife was alive, it was a beautiful house, and then she passed away, and then it started looking really run down,
Yeah.
and no one was mowing the grass, and there were garbage bags outside on the front porch, and when the garage door was open, it was like
Oh my
top
gosh.
to bottom filled with junk and crap, and the gentleman was a diabetic alcoholic, so he ended up losing a leg to gangrene, and so he was in a wheelchair and would push himself backwards in his chair on
Yes.
Sturgeon Road, which like
Yes.
80 speed limit, like dangerous.
No
And he
kidding.
wasn't all there, like had a lot of mental issues. So it's for sale now for, I think, tax money, like because he hadn't paid
Okay.
income tax in years. And so the county, I think, took it back because when he passed away, there was nobody to take it. So they're asking 500,000, which you would think is not a lot for this area, but it's an absolute sewer. There's been
Yeah.
sewage backup in the basement, so the walls are black for about 4 feet. And he's got solo cups full of urine all over the house because he wouldn't, I think, fit to his bathroom in his wheelchair. So he
Oh
just
my
filled solo
gosh.
cups and left them on the floor.
They
And it's
just
been there
say
for
it's a
5
fixer-upper.
years. So the realtor
kidding.
will not walk in. I think the door's unlocked. You can walk in and visit. It's like,
Steal what you want. Definitely. Those cups of urine, steal them.
Oh,
Take them away.
all that
wow,
ammonia and
it's
nitrate for your
disgusting.
plants.
Oh, I just can't
I
imagine.
know that's terrible.
So, whoever buys
Yeah,
it
pretty
will have to
much.
burn it down. The roof is almost caving in.
You're
Yeah,
gonna
it's
you're
pretty
gonna
sad.
demolish the house and rebuild. Totally.
Whoever buys, I hope so, because if they do a bad job patching it, they're gonna have a lawsuit on their hand.
Burn it.
Mm.
So that's something you want to demolish and rebuild.
Yeah.
Start new, start
Mhm.
fresh. Haul it off.
I'll buy the land, but I won't buy the house. Right?
Yeah. But anyways, I was kind of always joking. You want to buy that house in my
Not
neighborhood?
really, no.
Oh,
Well,
Anastasia
yeah.
moves into it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have let her.
I think so.
I like her enough that I would not let
I think
anybody
the way
I
you were
know near that
describing, I don't
house.
think she like once you visit a house right off the bat, you're not gonna get that one, right?
Well, if you're willing to flip it, and if you can, maybe like I know what they're asking for, but I don't know what they're willing to take for it. So I think someone makes a decent offer and lowball it quite a bit.
Yeah.
They might
Well,
take it
eventually you're desperate to
because I think
sell,
it's
right?
going down
Eventually
to-
you're desperate to sell. Just give me anything
Mhm.
because I don't want to pay the tax.
Mm-hmm.
It comes with 3 cars with deflated tires in the front driveway.
That's pretty
It comes as is.
cool.
What is that like $100 for the junkyard? I don't
It
know.
it's
You have to see the car, right?
pretty sad.
Yeah.
That is kind of sad.
How many people in your neighborhood?
How many?
Yeah.
There's I think just shy of 80 houses
80
in
houses.
that subdivision.
So 500,000 divided by 80.
No, it's not 80. Do we have a number for each house? I'm 73
how
and
many
we're in the
households in the
higher
neighborhood?
numbers,
What do you think?
so okay, let's try 60.
60?
I don't think there's that
Oh,
many, but
that is basically $8,300 a person.
yeah, no.
And just to get rid of it, right? And then you tear it down and rebuild it, and then you try and sell it, and whatever you sell,
With
you
the
get
profit.
whatever money back, and but it's only gonna 8333 is the magic number, right? That's what that's if you as a neighborhood decided to buy it and demolish it. And then, whatever money you get from selling it, if you could sell the land for whatever, you recover part of your investment to clean up the neighborhood, and it's gone.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Isn't it
but
like
tearing it down has costs. Building something else has
That's up to the
like
new owner.
lots of costs. And I don't think the yard is even worth
Yeah, but doesn't
Ouch.
that, like
$500,000.
I heard once that in the real estate world, sometimes one like tear down house could devalue the other houses in the neighborhood. Maybe that's a thing too, right? Here.
And then the next thing is you let the county buy it. So the county buys it, and the taxpayer pays for the demolition. So you're spreading the cost out over more people. It's just through your property tax, whatever. And then you start fresh again, and at least you have, yeah. So maybe that's the solution.
Hmm.
Let the government deal with it, which means the taxpayer, and just spread the cost over the entire district.
I don't
County.
know what'll happen, but I'm curious to see whoever buys it, and I know they won't pay 500,000
Of course
for
not.
it.
They're not
Like,
going to pay
they're-
sticker price guaranteed,
no.
right?
No, that's like
Um,
$100,000.
But even then, I hope it's not someone who does a botched up job at just
Well, I can
hiding
tell
the
you that whoever's going
defaults.
to buy it, capitalism is spend as least money as possible, right? This is where it would
I
make
know.
more sense for the state, for the county, to buy it for the benefit of the county, tear it down, and
I think it is the counties right now, Ken, though, because they probably earned it from the
Okay.
estate,
so if the county owns it, bulldoze
just
it,
because of
spend a few more
unpaid
tax dollars
taxes.
and bulldoze it, and then
I
either
agree.
sell it as vacant land, or if you want to put a nice on again, you spend more tax money on it. But at least it's spread out over a district, over a county.
Yeah.
It's not as I mean, how else do you do it? Because you're right.
I don't know. We'll
If
see.
somebody buys it, you will get some kind of slumlord who will put up some kind of cheap rental and maybe do it as a fixer upper. Good luck. And yeah, and then who's going to live in that? But anyway,
I'm always expecting when we walk in front that someone will have lit a flame to it. No? It was a nice, like it was a pretty house. It was not my style, but it was well maintained.
while the
The
wife lived,
woman
yeah,
had like while she lived, and then when
Right.
she passed away, it went.
That's sad.
So
it is sad
it comes
is
with a
sad.
van and
No,
two
it is.
cars.
Because what you described from that fellow, that's the kind of a mental illness in my mind.
Oh, it totally was. He actually would they would hospitalize him, especially when they took his leg out, and then they would kick him out of the rehab hospital because he was hoarding there.
Oh boy.
Oh man.
So he was like a rich homeless guy. Yeah.
Wow.
And the cars in front of the house have deflated tires because one of his friends was a cop and he would come and check on him and every now and again and made sure that he wouldn't drive because he was constantly drunk. So he would make sure the tires stayed
So
deflated the whole
cars could be
time.
working.
So he couldn't drive. Oh, well, they haven't run in a long time, but I think with a little maintenance, they're not worth nothing for sure. Yeah, he had some people who looked after him, like kind souls, but he just had
So
some
he had issues.
mental
He had
illness
issues,
for
fair
sure.
enough.
hmm Like he tried shovel water out of puddles in the spring. It was kind of scary as a mom with young kids at the time.
Interesting.
Huh.
Because he was in the middle of the road trying to get water out of puddles. Poor guy.
Ah. Yeah. Well, ugh. Anyways,
Anyways, on that note,
yeah. I mean,
we
really
should
happy to
go
hang out with you
bed.
guys and all the feedback you gave me,
Always a pleasure.
what your outlook is. Look forward to hearing new character ideas, where you want the story to go, what you guys enjoy, and actually how you guys really enjoy interacting with one another as your characters. The next session, of course, I'll start that next session off of talk for Anastasia and Orzo who couldn't make it, but that will be the 23rd, and I will be heading take care of my dad for a bit in July, and I'll try to get some D&D in over there, and meet my niece and do uncle stuff like fill them up with sugar, and then that's their parents' problem.
That would be fun. That's good. It's always good to do that.
The house is a mess.
That makes sense.
Yeah, whatever uncles do, I don't really know.
It's an uncle's job.
Yeah, that's part of what uncles do.
Grandparents too.
You show them a good time.
Yeah, and then the parents will have to deal with it later.
Buy them stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was great seeing you all
All right,
tonight.
guys, I'm off to bed. Sorry.
That's all right. That's all
Thanks.
right. It was a pleasure.
Yes, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks.
Yay.
See you guys in 2 weeks.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Stay safe. Congratulations
Bye
on your
now.
second shot.
Yeah. Can't
Yes.
wait till we're all
Good luck with
vaccinated.
yours.
I'll let you know how it works out.
Bye
Bye.
Yeah.
See ya.
Bye.
Thank you
There we
all.
go.
It's good talk.
Very nice lady.
Hey Ken, check your message on Discord. I sent you the plans for Tana's new weapon.
Oh,
Yeah,
give me a
no,
minute. How do I do this? Where do I
I
go?
think. I don't know. I sent it to you. I never got a message through Discord. I
Okay,
sent
give me
it
a
on-
moment here. Because a lot of times what happened when I was putting messages on is it would come up on my phone and I would just click on my phone and reply back. But I haven't had anything come up on my phone. So what I'm seeing here, Orzo's Heroes. I see Gunhound. You're Gunhound, right?
Right.
All under general. Yeah, I don't know Discord well enough. So hopefully something shows up on my phone again. I'll be able to read it all back. I don't know. It's weird.
I'll send it through whatchamacallit, Facebook
If you send it to
later
the
on.
chat, right, I'll find it there. Oh wait, maybe I found something.
Yeah, I was wondering if it worked or not. So I was wondering, well, I sent it through there.
I see
wonder if
Kevin,
it worked.
excellent. I'll just say hello.
Okay. Oh, was there a time when you wanted to talk about opening up a brokerage account?
Yeah, I'm interested in doing that kind of thing. Right, for buying shares and stuff, right?
Sure is. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I still want to do that.
All right.
My problem is finding the time. So it's one of those things that I want to do.
Okay.
Now, if plan B goes well on Friday, then we'll see. And I'll have lots of time and I'll be able to do all sorts of things.
What's Plan B on Friday?
Plan B, well, it's Lotto Max. It's the 70 million.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
So plan B usually doesn't work out very well, but once in a while when it gets up there, I'll try a plan B.